formerly known as That Midday Show. That right there is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And, you know, as we typically do around here, we're going to wait for the migrants to come on over from that other stream, as we do have that that new stream of our own, Katina Man. And yeah, so we got to wait for everybody to come on in. And for YouTube to do its thing, lots moving today. The market at day's highs currently here, breaking through that 18.2 level. Big boy move coming in here right at that 10:30-11 mark. There we go. The migrants are coming on in. We got Darwin, we got Andrew Vin, Big Bob, Dub, Pillsbury, Oscar, I see you, sir. We got Luke, Parent, Alex, we got Biggs, Joel Fernandez, Sebastian, I see you, sir. We got Passett, we got Caleb, Brad Aldman, what's up, man? With Draco, Easy Trader, T.H. Saul G. We got Brendan the Pawns, the Fawns, gracing us with his presence. And we got my favorite Arsenal fan in the chat, Adam DeLuce. I see you, Benson. You're pretty good, too. Edgar and Fiddlebeck. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. How are you? Happy Easter. Happy Easter Monday.
Thank you.
How was your weekend? Good to have you back.
It was a little too good, Adara. So good that, you know, some stuff happened there. And we had to take a day off. But it was really good family time. So
that's awesome.
Good there. All right, let's get to these here markets, because things are moving here. And they just started moving midday. So obviously we know about the Apple event. Imagine this, that, or the other. For all I see right now is bottoming tail candles at this 182.5, 182 1/3. That's got my attention. Sure, I have a topping tail candle through the 200 as well on the 5. But what has my attention a lot here are these bottoming tail candles. I'm not taking a trade off them, but I'm alert to the fact that there does seem to be a buyer in and around this area. For what reason, I do not care. So we're going to keep an eye on AAPL with these bottoming tail candles there. The other one I really like on the day as a possible long, Goggles. Look at this chart, bro. Nice big boy move up there, 930, 935. It makes that bull flag. We start getting lower highs, but alas, what do we have? We obvious support at that 170 area, and that 170 area also happens to be the volume weighted average price. I love when those two conflate. And now we are pumping very close to that 171 area, 171.09 HOD on this monster. Great looking bull flag on Goggles today. Now, Amazon was doing these topping tail candles earlier, and I was really looking for a possible short on these. So these topping tail candles had me believing that there was a seller for whatever reason into this 195 1/3, quarter, half area. You can't really tell because the range per candle is so wide there. So we'll keep eyes on Amazon as we go into the afternoon. And right now, Tesla making a 50-period retracement. The reason I isolate the 50 period is because it's featured on every pop on TSLA on the day. So in the pre-market, we get that bad news on TSLA, and then we start selling off on decent volume, mind you. Like all these 5-minute candles here, about 35,000 shares, 28,000 shares. That's decent for 5 a.m. prints. And then we make it into the 50 at 7 a.m., and we basically reject off the 50 all day long. The 50 period on the 5 on my chart, 180 2/3. I'm going to be watching Tesla in and around there for a possible short.
Yeah, I think that's a nice look. I was also looking at Tesla for a short. Happy I didn't get involved because then we bounced back. Words, yeah. So much like yesterday, which I know I said a lot of the theme yesterday was not enough caffeine. So today we're gonna have to double up on the caffeine. I've already taken a trade that has me going a little bit. I tried to go long this, but you know I managed it. Like okay, I want to clarify, but I got long Nvidia. Probably should have gotten short Nvidia here, but then I was like, oh, we're bouncing off VWAP, whatever. Then I got out. I was risking into 60s. We break below 60s a little bit. I get out. I probably could have had a bit more of an iron grip on this. If we keep bouncing off VWAP, I might skedaddle on back into this long. But I don't think that's all I have my eyes on. I've been trading a lot more. I know Shreve and I were talking about this last week, a lot more ETFs and futures derivatives. So with that in mind, my TQs are maybe going to make this little pop up here. I don't want to make any assumptions, and I don't love making high of day breaks, but I said yesterday, I was proud of myself. I had 2 high of day breaks yesterday, 1 sock sell, 1 to Qs. So if I see stuff I like, I'm not going to be stopped by where on the chart I'm seeing it. To quote Ariana Grande's 7 rings, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. So that's going to be me approaching these markets today. Also, Celsius is in a heck of a range. I think the temperature, pun intended, on Celsius is looking mighty fine. Look at that base. Look at that top. Mwah. Beautiful look. My only thing is this is a more expensive stock than I've tended to have traded since going live. We're at like $77. But if I see that base at VWAP, I'm not going to sing Ariana Grande again, but we know where I'm thinking. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I don't think this is a bad look at all, but I don't want to go short the top right now either because these wicks here off VWAP, we're looking a little bullish. Looks like Celsius doesn't want to be in the negatives anymore. We want to see a bit of a sunshine, change the forecast here on our Celsius, perhaps may chance. So with that in mind, I'm going to keep that in mind here. Neil's saying go PLTR, but we have something else to go to right now.
Oh, are we?
I don't know.
No, we still have a couple of minutes. Yeah, it's all good there. I was just going to comment on your hotlines.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. No, the other thing I want to point out here, guys, soft one, doing compression things. Now, I'm not really exactly sure what's happening here on Softy, but all I know is that this 200 period on the 5 is a great looking area of support. You have multiple touches off the 5 off this area, all with good success, giving you possibly, $2 at the height there on Softy. So keep that in mind. But what I also want to keep in mind is it's kind of looking bear flaggish. And I don't even want to say bear flag, bear pennon-ish, because we're compressing. These higher lows are telling, but so are these lower highs. So I am very inclined to try to weasel something here on the soft one, whether it's a long off the 200 or a short off that 413 and a half and 2/3, generally that area. That is the closing print on Microsoft from yesterday, say 413 and a half. And then obviously the 200 is a dynamic range or dynamic level. It's going to move as the price action moves. So I'm looking possibly here range trade on Softy on an established look there. Apple as well. Look at these bottoming tail candles featuring, again, whatever the reason, this 182 and a half, 182 and a third seems to have a buyer there. Maybe it's Uncle Warren lamenting having sold some of his Apple shares, now wanting to get back in. Who knows? Who caught that Berkshire Hathaway sesh on Saturday? I caught bits and pieces of it. I think Becky Quick is a hell of a reporter, man.
Like
hell of an anchor. One of my faves anyway. They trust her so much they do it with her exclusively.
Yeah, well, she did the Charlie Munger interview too, his last interview.
Yeah, well, all of Berkshire essentially. She's basically dominating that session. All right, guys, we are brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, remember the good old days when you were always ready to go? Well, those days don't have to be over, baby. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in a convenient chewable tablets. And it's at a fraction of the cost. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and you'll receive your prescription discreetly delivered to your door within days. No awkward doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the good old USA and shipped directly to you. And we've got that special deal for you. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code TraderTV at the checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. Visit bluechew.com, promo code TraderTV. All right, fellas, Blue Chew. Let's go.
Chew on that.
Yeah, well, you'll have to be chewing because otherwise it won't work. So that's the look there. All right, so these here markets, we covered that. Let's get to the lesson du jour now that the ad read has been completed there. We are talking about IPO trading, SPAC trading, direct listing tradings all week and all the variations of those trades that come under that umbrella. Let's get to it today. Today, we're going to be talking about continuation plays. We went over the opening days ideas for IPOs, SPACs, and direct listings, but what about day 2 plays? This lesson will get into continuation strategies for these here stocks. So beyond day 1, guys, this is what we're talking about. So trading IPOs, SPACs, direct listings on day 1 can be great when it comes to volatility, but not every trader is suited or interested in that kind of trading. Trading on day 2 and beyond can provide, first and foremost, levels. You've got things off which to chart. Traders can have a better sense of which levels, if any, there doesn't have to be, the stock is respecting on the daily, weekly, and typically, you know, for the second day play, it's going to be a 15 or a 5 or a half, right? Waiting to see how the stock has traded over that particular period. And you can also have a better assessment and understanding of how liquid the stock is going to be. What's the spread looking like? Are you having to deal with these 10-penny spreads, or is it tightening up because the liquidity is coming in hand over fist? So as discussed during yesterday's lessons with the one, the Canob, and your girl Dara, liquidity can be lacking in day 1 IPO stocks. The days following an asset's debut can result in extra attention on the stock and allow for more liquidity and tighter spreads, definitely making it a little bit easier to trade there. And I want to shout out today's lesson is exclusively brought to you by Adara, because she got onto it today, and I didn't have a chance to do it, so she killed it. Some very key strategies, and I like where you're going with this here with respect to how to trade this particular day. So first, you're going to be on that analysis tip. You're going to be really looking to look at the stock from, you know, the lens of analysis here. So watch the chart and or the tape movement for the chosen name that you've chosen to take on in the hours or days following its debut. Get a sense of how the asset moves and what kind of spread you might be dealing with and any levels you're interested in there. So we all know what CART did. What did we have like the other day that was a good one?
There was Rubric, there was Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit. Reddit is the one that I was thinking about. What was the one that came with Reddit right before Reddit too? There was Reddit and there was another one. They were like together, hand in hand almost.
That A1, A-Lab, Astera Lab.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was good because you had like the mid 40s there on Reddit, which ended up being interesting levels. Yeah, so that's key strategy. So next day play, obviously you have those levels off which to work. To me, that makes a big difference. I just don't like getting in willy-nilly. I don't have the feel for the tape like the OB, the one, the Canob. I like my chart levels, and so day 2 plays for me sound awesome. And then the plan, Ram. Now we gotta weasel a plan, right? So now that you have the levels and a sense of how the stock moves, visualize and plan the details of the trade. Are you looking to scalp? What's your move here? Are you looking to trade a breakout off a key resistance level, or are you looking for an Adara Panera range, right? Make sure that you plan accordingly in order to best execute your desired trade. So you got to know exactly what approach you're going to take to this bad boy, and then you plan around that. And then your entry and your exit. You got to figure out exactly where you're going to weasel in and bamboozle out. So your plan, put your plan into action, So given the volatility that can be present even in second day IPOs and SPACs, think about Reddit or DJT. DJT was the one I was thinking about.
Oh, okay, DJT.
I know that was a SPAC. It wasn't an IPO, but like that was the one that came, I think, very close to Reddit, right?
Yeah, like within like, I think a week, if not days of each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was spicy.
So yeah, think of like Reddit or a DJT. Make sure that you're able to get in and out according to your strategy. And personally, like I just couldn't trade DJT. It was too spready, too volatile on that not IPO, de-SPACing, so I personally stayed away. Some important considerations to take into account. We kind of alluded to this earlier, the spread. The IPO can initially lack some liquidity until, you know, more eyes come on it. So you have to keep an eye there on the spread. The spread on recent IPOs, SPACs, and direct listings can be larger than that of the average stock of its size. Sure, because a lot of people are looking at it, especially in the days after its debut. Beware of the spread when planning and executing your trade, particularly with regards to entrances, exits, and your stop losses. And I can't emphasize more this next topic here, your risk management. Due to the obvious spread issues and volatility that accompanies these stocks in their early days, that is, you know, you have to be prepared to make a hasty getaway, essentially what I'm saying. So if you've got, you know, that bailout key, that we call it the flatten key here, you've got to have something there in case your stop gets blown through. It is a real possibility on these kind of names, guys, that your stops don't execute your whatever. You just have to have these emergency keys to make sure that you can get out of dodge, so to speak. And remember, with IPO trades and the like, it's even more important that you plan every aspect of the trade ahead of time. Visualize it, right? And that you adhere to that plan. Get in and get out of the trade at the levels you've identified and try not to move your stops. Try to stick to that original plan. A lot easier said than done, especially when all this new information is coming in, new levels are developing, you're having to analyze and synthesize new information. Sounds really good, but hard to execute and practice. And also another really good one here, trying not to get lost in the sauce, so to speak, when trading IPOs and focus on the merits of the trade. Turn off your emotions, hit that off button, and execute the trade as planned. No matter if the trade is making money or losing money, you want to execute the trade as you've seen it. And be cognizant of your position sizing in IPO trades. Make sure you're trading the amount of shares you're comfortable with. And consider taking profits along the way. Wet your beak, baby. Also avoid the instinct to average into the trade unless it's part of your predetermined plan. We always talk about DCAing, and you know how that often is, you know, kind of a bad word around here. But we want to destigmatize it a little bit by saying planned dollar cost averaging is absolutely fine, because within your plan, you're taking that DCA into your overall risk management. And if you're doing that, then you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's in my books. So shout out to Adara for very nicely putting their lesson together.
Thank you.
Get the words out there.
Words.
Words.
Who knows? Who knows words? You know, I'm not Kendrick Lamar. I can't put like words together like at, you know, that kind of speed or
diss tracks over the weekend.
Or pace. Yeah, he dropped so many diss tracks. He dropped 2 diss tracks like this weekend and like 4 within the next couple of days. Like, I am not a wordsmith. We're not wordsmiths, but thank you for joining us here today. Also, Palantir. I took a short off Palantir.
Nice.
Was this the trade of, oh, thank you. Was the trade of my life? Oh, no, but I'm happy with the impetus for me taking it. And let's get into that. So we had that little move up here. I was like, okay, we're going to avoid it. Then I saw Neil saying, go Palantir in the chat. And I was like thinking, oh, maybe I can take a long here, right? But then look at this little chop and churn. These swift knife chops up and down here for Palantir are on that 72 level. We wick up into 72 and we reject it. And I say, Adara, this might be a long, but right now for your purposes, it is a short. So I got half the position out, 59s. Tried to scalp the rest out, but we were too fast. To quote MC Hammer, we can't touch this. So we're gonna have to wait and see. If we break above 72s, I'll be out here, which would be a bit sad, but I'm, you know, happy with how I executed the trade. I should have just scalped everything out in the first place. Also then, I mentioned earlier I had the NVDL long that may have raised some eyebrows. At the very least, my own eyebrows were raised by that trade that I took. But then I got back in because I was like, we're actually forming a bit of a base here. It's not, you know, we're here for a good time, not a long time, as I often am with my trades. Initially wanted 74s, we got to 72s, came back down. If we can get 70s, I'll be pleased as punch. I see someone, though, punching his fist. So you got a Cybertruck to chat about?
We got in the Cybertruck there. As we told everybody at the 50 period on the 5, we were going short, got short. Wet my beak already for a nice 15 penny winner already. We'll see if we can continue to reject that 50 period there on TSLA. I am cognizant of that 181.50, I believe, base. Oops, that's goggles that I just maximized, pardon me. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. This base here that we put in the pre. Sure, it has its own kind of level off which to work there. Let's say 181.25, best case scenario 181.5. The wicks go down to the quarter, the closing prints are at the half. So that's a nice look there. But guess what? It was also below the 50 at that time. And so look at it, it rejects off the 50 here, and we're like nicely in the money, 25 pennies in money, nothing to complain about here on this first trade. So we'll see if we can touch that 180 level, maybe wet our beak on 85 pennies, but if it breaks up above the 50, then it ends up being a scalp. That's exactly what it is. So I'm keeping my eye on how it dances with that 50 period on the 5 TSLA. Keep in mind also that, you know, it's not unusual to be getting some strength now. We have this double bottom here that brewed at 178.25. Right? So the 178.5, 178.25, depending on which levels. So, you know, the fact that you got a big move up to touch the 50 period, not unusual here, even though it is down decidedly on the day, 2.5%. What was the headline? What did he do now? What happened again with this?
Oh,
why are we down 2.5%?
He didn't even do anything. The sales, China's just sucked,
right.
and BYDs were good, and China's in general EV sales up 33% year over year.
And NIO
and BYD.
And you hear what happened with the L6? With Lee, bought hand over fist.
I did hear, yeah.
People they're loving the L6 because it's cheap. And so Tesla's not selling any. I wonder if he needs a redesigning. because these Chinese guys seem to be catching up with him. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, that's the way it is there. So we'll keep watching right now on TSLA. If we can touch 180, I'll be covering the end of this trade. As Tesla goes down, the monster NVDA on the way up again. Here we go, about to break through pivots. And that is kind of the level that we danced with in the pre. That 908, 910-ish level. Well, there was a lot of action in and around there, depending on whether you were looking at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. So we're coming into those levels. Also, the 200 period on the 5 goes right now on NVDA. So we'll wet our beak there on the last load on Tesla. We'll take some out at 15s. Happy with that initial trade. But look at Meta. So Meta's lifting these markets up here. It just printed HOD. Shout out to the Katina man, baby. He's in Meta right now as we speak. Meta at high a day. New high a day, 468.37. Katina man, I think you could see a likely 470 print today on META. And funny enough, that is where resistance level 1 on pivots is today on META, right at that $10 level. 470. We haven't been at 470, I believe, since that big boy tank off earnings. Let's go to the 4-hour, have a look at Meta. Yes, we haven't been at that 470 level since April 24th when we tanked on earnings in the aftermarket there.
Yeah, I think that Meta level is certainly interesting. So I got out of NVDL, and then it broke up. But you know what? That's okay. I'm trying not to trade P&L as much. I'm trying to just be aware, stay clear, steer clear, smile. To quote that coach from that old show, Friday Night Lights, clear eyes, full hearts or something. I don't know. But we're going to be doing that. We're going to be staying clear, staying open. I got Palantir long, and I want to talk about why. Because looking at the chart, it could be a bit of a our moment, especially because I got involved where I got involved. Why did I get involved Palantir long at resistance? I'll tell you why. We're making these higher lows. I had the short. We broke above 72s, which was the area I was watching. I was like, you know what, Adara, if we're above 72s, this area could form a support again now. Support, resistance, support, flip, flop, flip. I don't know. I want to see. I want us to get involved here, and I'm going to get out if we break below that 64 area, which has been the area I've loved off Palantir. I was trying to play that range as my in on the short. So if we break below it on the long, then I'll be getting out. Clearly more caffeine is needed, but that's all good. You don't need caffeine. These markets don't need caffeine, so no, I'm joking. Humans do sometimes, but that's not the point. I want to take this at least until VWAP. I have enough that I can like spread the shares accordingly, you know, like dole out the position. I don't know if we'll get any shares to dole out because I think we're going to probably break below here, but I want us to sit pretty at that 9 EMA. That's the level I will be looking at. Oh, yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with your boy there on the weekend, yeah.
Yeah, interesting look there, but so yeah, PLTR certainly I'm not doing too much here. I got involved. If there's anything people are looking at, let me know. Apparently, Pinterest is back to being Pinteresting because people mentioning, Pinterest. Sorry, I got excited there. Look at that
topping tail. Wow.
Oh, that's a topping tail. Somebody is putting this on the side chart, and someone's probably getting short, and someone's going to take it to VWAP. I wonder who. It's me. We're going to get involved. We're going to sip some coffee. We're going to get that Pinterest. We're going to deal with my Palantir. There's not that much to deal with there. I'm not out of the Palantir yet, though, on Palantir. But we're still here. We're still standing, and we're definitely Pinterested in this Pinterest. Thank you guys for mentioning that one for the PINS. Also, yeah, Cash Kari is set to speak soon.
Oh, Cash.
Yeah, at Cash Money. Cash rules everything around.
Is that the guy that misspells his name?
Yeah, the Neil with the two E's.
Oh, yeah, that's we're kidding, of course. We're just because our Neil spells it differently. That's the whole thing there. Obviously, no right and wrong spelling. Let me get to this look here. So Tesla was a really, really nice rejection off the 50 on the 5 there, and we did take it out too early as per the usual. It did dip into that 179 2/3, finding a little bit of support right now at VWAP. Let's see if this range established itself below to the low side. The volume weighted average price is just a smidge below 180, 189.75. To the high side, the 50 period currently at 180 2/3. Good look for TSLA there. We'll keep eyes on that. Apple printed a new low of day as Adara was speaking there. So these bottoming tail candles that we were focusing on earlier as a possible area off which to get long may not be a good idea. So whatever buyer, or my analysis of this action over here was that there was a buyer at these levels, they may not be there anymore. May have exhausted or turned off, whatever the situation is. Doesn't look like the same buyer is there anymore. So I will not be looking to go long there at the moment. In fact, this 182.80 to 183 area, all these topping tail candles, which is where the 200 is on the 5, seem to be a good area to short. So if that comes back in as a level, could be interesting here. But Meta continues to go. 469 looks like it's incoming here on META, going to 2/3 in the green on the day. Good look for the monster Meta. The soft one continues to print these lower highs. It's actually surprisingly respectful of this lower trend line here, this upper trend line lower sloping downward. Look at this. Every single rejection off these tops has held up. Now, as of late, and I mean as of late as in like 10:45 onwards, so the last 45 minutes or so, we've kind of been rejecting off VWAP rather than these lower highs here on this lower trend line. So an interesting look. I'm still interested to go long on the soft one at the 200 period on the 5. That's because of these two areas over here. Bless you, Ram. Still sneezing up a storm there, eh? Where's the reactant or the Flonase or whatever you need over there? None. That's okay. Marjour? I don't know. Marjour? What is your opinion on CGC and the cannabis sector? Thanks for your time. Look, man, I tell you, if the Democrats win, the presidency and maybe the Congress, I think we probably see. I know, but I'm just saying, if they win, then we could likely see, some sort of federal legalization. But I'm telling you, I think if the Republicans win, you're not going to see any sort of movement there. It's just not part of their agenda. Here's a look on CGC. So let's look at, this is the daily. Obviously, we had that big move up on the announced rescheduling of marijuana from a 1 to 3 or 3, whatever, 3 to 1. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, this $10 area seems to be an interesting area off which to look for support. I know the low of day broke 10, but it's a general area. Look for it on the close. It's a $10 area, right? I'd want to see some support there. It's not on a hard and fast rule. Today, where are we up? What are we doing here on weed in general? Let's have a look. Where are my weed names? There we go. Okay, so we're all green in the weed area. I didn't actually mean that, but we are green in weed. The leader on weed today is Grow Generations, up about 4%, only doing about 1/3 of a million shares on the day, though. Look, CGC's good, man, but I think, it's just too politically connected. The topic is very politically sensitive. And, yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. So I just don't see federal legalization from the Republicans. I just possibly see it from the Dems. So, what else we got over here? I didn't look at any small cap gappers. So let me look at that. Do you have anything to report on before I start?
Short pins off that top and tail candle. Okay. Palantir, we're just waiting Palantir. There's nothing to talk about. Okay.
There's a couple of good ones. Did you have anything, Katina, man? Did you want to update on?
No, I mean, I'm long Palantir at 64. I'm long Disney at 03.
Katina Man's long Palantir at 64s, long Disney at 105.03.
Buying this dip on Google against 182.
Buying the dip on Google on Apple. Buying the dip on Apple against 182 at the moment on the Katina Man's trades. Neil, anything? Neil still in Disney and in Nikola. Disney, that 57 he said? Okay. And Palantir at 57 for Neil on that. So shout out to the big kahunas there. All right, it looks like Meta got to 469.79 and then dropped nicely there. So keep your eye out for 470 pop and drop there. But here are the small cap gappers de jour. G-Sun was a good looking one. It now has broken down below the volume weighted average price and is a better looking short than it is long. To go long on this name, it's got to break above the volume weighted average price, which on my chart is 5 3/4. Keep your eye out for this one. This one could mean revert all the way back into the this morning's opening print. Adara brought you guys this one on small cap recap. MSGM, it was doing well, and now it broke below VWAP. But look, this one doesn't have a propensity to respect VWAP, so I really am trying to respect my rules of only trading this above volume weighted average price. But look at this. This has been an absolute dance with the 20 on the 5. And why, I don't know, and I really don't care. Any dips, though, into the 20, which is the yellow line on my chart, have each and every single one has closed above and broken up. In addition to that, it is putting in these higher lows. So that could be something to look at here. $3 seems to be a bit of a local resistance level. Sometimes you're able to break above it, but it seems like people are pushing this one down above that 3 level. Keep your eye on this one, and if you're feeling particularly dangerous and you want to trade a small cap gap or below VWAP, the 20 period EMA on the 5 seems to be a really good support level on MSGM. BAND, band, also interesting here. This one started doing a rounded top, which the NOS boss would probably say, you know, looks awfully bearish. And then it comes back, well, it does break VWAP, and then starts doing a rounded bottom. So now we'll have to see whether this one is like one of those ones where we spend a little bit above VWAP and a little bit below, and it establishes a range above and below VWAP, possibly trade it off like that. BAND looking good as well. But this one is the one that continues to trade and get everybody's attention because it's number 1 on my gap scanner, NUZE, Newsy. This one moved up big at the high there. I think it was over 100%. Now it's down into that 82% area. 290 HOD. It's trying to dance with VWAP, but this one awfully spready and awfully volatile. Likely will not trade this one. Piton on there as well with that buyout rumor. We'll keep eyes on that. And CMND was also really good, but now has broken down and no longer tradable as a long for me on my, what's it called? VWAP, small cap gapper trading system. Sorry, I'll get it right.
Yeah, I mean, the small cap gapper rules got to be above VWAP, and you got to be breaking your pre-market high, or Sharif does not care.
I will not trade you.
You are not on his radar. You are not on the highly regarded side chart. And you're just out the DMs. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
but
you
also,
are.
Yeah, we were talking about read names earlier. And Mac Attack, sorry, thank you so much for the super chat, the 199 super chat. Sorry, this came in before the lesson, so apologies there. Hi, thank you so much to Mac Attack, though, for that 199 super chat. Hi, will y'all be covering Sundial or SNDL earnings this week? So yeah, I mean, we could take a look at the chart. I don't, you know, generally what I've noticed, there are some names we'll cover every earnings season, of course, like the Mag 7, and there are other ones, if they don't move as much, they're maybe not going to get as much attention, right? I'm going to be honest. Like, I know when I make the watch list, it really does depend on what's making these big moves and what has volume attached to it, right? So let's look at Sundial. This one reporting before market open on Thursday. So we've got a couple days there before we get SNDL earnings. Yeah, this daily chart, this is a nice look, though, trying to make this breakout of that 2.6 area. But as Sharif was just saying, a lot of these, you know, weed-related names are very contingent on political-related news and updates, right?
Spade.
Yeah,
that's just what it is. You know
it takes
what I mean?
a lot to keep these guys green.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to keep them smoking. You know what I mean? They got to have like that high intensity BIC, that nice lighter there, right? So
there you go.
If we get another, you know, re-up of this one, I think that 260 could be a nice look. But yeah, I have to be honest, for a lot of these smaller earnings names, it really does depend in terms of whether it goes in the watch list. Just based on, you know, as someone who makes the watch list, I can say this. I think it really, I'm always looking at what kind of volume is it getting in the pre-market. So I'll have to wait and see. But technically, I think the 260 breakout could be a nice look.
Your boy's dropping hot lines.
Oh,
Here he comes. That Neil Cashman. Here it is. Fed's Kashkari. Raising rates is not most likely, but can't rule it out. Okay, Neil. He's tanking these markets, and I'm short the T-triple-Qs, baby. We're short at 59.04. Let's head down. We just wet our beak there at 95s. Let's see if we can make another move down. If we're really ambitious, we can come down to 18.2, but I think that's probably a little too ambitious for me today. We're only at 18.235, so we're only talking about 34 points here. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, Neil Kashkari is now dropping hot lines on the mic, so be aware that we could get these market moves right now, and it could be both ways, right? We can move up, we can move down. He could say something that is bullish, but he is quite hawkish as of late, correct?
He is a hawk.
Yeah,
I would say, you know, like those gargoyle libraries. That's him with like the hawkishness. It's set in stone, and that's basically all you hear from him.
What are those gargoyles supposed to do? They're supposed to scare birds.
I don't know.
What was the use of those things? Just scaring humans? Looking at the buildings? Don't look here.
Sharif's big. Oh, okay. Sharif's like, I'm not scared.
No, I'm not. All right, so we are short the T-triple-Qs. Let's see what comes from that. But I do like Sean's idea with that 182 defend on the dead one Apple. 182.14 LOD at the moment. We'll see if this one can continue to make lows. But I got to tell you, as I look at the Mag 7 names, they don't look all that bearish at the moment. I mean, Apple looks bearish, but when you look at Amazon, you look at Meta, you look at Goggles, it doesn't look too bad. And now you have NVIDIA back above VWAP, holding VWAP actually as a good support level there at 902.5 or thereabouts. You start questioning possibly the market short idea here. But so, you know, like you have Apple looking down, you have Tesla looking down, Softies also really having trouble breaking above the volume weighted average price at 412 and 3/4. So possible double looks there. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's a mixed bag, and I think when Sean said today it might be a stock picker's market, I think he was actually right, because these Mag 7 names all over each other, they're not looking alike at all. Each one has its own pattern. Man, you could go for like over a year and see these guys look identical in their charts, and now they don't look like each other. So it's a change. Keeping an eye on that. All right, what else we got up here? VINO, I see is moving here. Vino, okay, so Vino's moving midday here. This one is a $5.5 million market cap, so needless to say, it is minuscule. It's already halted twice, baby. We got 2 up halts on this monster. I'll give you the deets on it in a second. The float on this, sub 1,772,939 shares. This is a minuscule, kind of like those Chinese small cap gappers that always trade like around 400,000, 500,000 shares. This one is moving here. Does it have a headline? I don't see the headline for Gaucho Group. Oh, observe notable surge in Buenos Aires real estate market. That was May 6th. That was yesterday. Okay, that's fine. What is this? I'm getting something today. Gaucho Group Holdings supports strong investment in Argentina following endorsements from global leaders. That sounds like a bump and dump to me. All right, well, I'm not going to participate in this, but there is price action support for this. And the volume, look, 1.25 million shares. This one could be a little suspect here. Keep your eye on it. I'm not really convinced about the headline here. It could be one of those ones where you just release a headline and to get your pump. So I'm not saying that's what it is, but be on the lookout for that.
I've noticed Gaucho Group is kind of a recurring offender for that, a repeat offender. Because when I first started, I feel like Gaucho Group was always running on some kind of vague real estate related headline.
Well, that's what it just said.
Right? That's what that's why I was thinking.
Argentina investments.
But yeah, I mean, you know, you never know. And you also never know with these freaking markets. I get out of Palantir, we break decisively below that 64, I say bye-bye. Then Palantir breaks back into 70s. Pourquoi? Pardonnez-moi. Makes sense, Palantir. So I'm going to be done with this for a while. I don't know. This is just not something I have as much of a read on right now. Then also, I got socked in the face in SOXL there. Should not have actually punched my jaw. That was not a vibe. But SOXL, I get long here because we were holding that area. I was like, higher lows, high of day break. I like this look. And I was like, if we break below this nice little top, previous resistance forming beautifully into support around 50s, I'll get out. We break below 50s. The second I get out, SOXL's like, what do you mean I'm done? And then went back to the upside. So to me right now, the look on SOXL is the short off 60s, but it looks like we might even be giving that up as well. I have, honestly, I feel like that Beyonce song, I have nothing. I have no ideas right now, and I don't mean that like a depressing way. I'm always pleased as punch to be here. I just don't have any ideas, if that makes sense. I did have, Alex Enzo was asking me what happened to my pin short. What happened to my pin short is, I was pretty Pinterested, and I'm really proud of what I did here. This is the type of scalping I need to do more of. I took that, as Sharif was very astutely pointed out, the topping tail candle. I took that short.
Nice. And
then I got out 70s, and I got out at that low, so I was so proud of myself for that. Thank you, I appreciate that. I think pins is still curling up to go higher. I think we could be springing back to the upside, but I didn't want to be in pins and needles in this trade for too long. I was going to be getting out if we broke above 82, so I was risking like 3 pennies. I was happy with that. And I've talked about this a lot. I am aware that my risk to reward ratios are A, kind of weird mathematically, and B, I risk very little, but I think I found that's the best way for myself to just be more comfortable in trades. Palantir did come back up. I could have stayed, but it's like also that could have gone way more against me. You know what I mean? So that is the strategy. People want me to look at Mara. James says, Adara, look at Mara. So let's take a look at, see what marathon she's running over here. Head of earnings. Oh, range. This is a range.
I was talking to BPI about it today. He said the same thing you just said.
That's so pretty. I like the higher lows. If we bounce off this 2010s area, I think I might get started. I might, to quote Michael Jackson, I want to be starting something. So I might get involved in this marathon here. What are you up to?
All right, I want to mention a couple of things. The Amazonian hit high of day as Adara was dropping hot lines. That was a big boy candle that just came in there. That was over 500,000 shares that just came in on that 1 5-minute candle, pushing Amazon through 189 and even, basically almost knocking the door of 190 there. 189.62 HOD. It's trading above the $0.50 right now. As Amazon did that and printed a new high of day, the dead one, Apple, printed a new low of day, broke through 182. It's trying to reclaim that whole dollar level now. I don't know. 181.71 is the closing print yesterday before we got that news in the aftermarket about Apple and the new AI server data center processor, that they are apparently making. So we've now retraced that entire move, and we are coming in to yesterday's closing print. That is that 181.70. Keep your eye on that. I'm still short the future. That is until I see something a little bit different from these markets, but these topping till candles will, that's keeping me in the game, so to speak. The soft one also. I don't want to take this into VWAP, the rejections into VWAP. Sometimes they go a little bit above. I might have something sitting at 413. The deeper retracements seem to come into that 413 area, so I'll put something resting in the 412 mid-90s, maybe low 90s, something like that, depending on the spread on the soft one. We'll keep an eye on that. That's the look there. NVIDIA continues to kind of inch its way a little bit higher and higher. It's still within that established range that we've had for the better part of 40 minutes, almost an hour now, which is essentially 908 to the top side and 903 to the bottom side. We're getting closer to that top side now, 907 mid prints here. Keep your eye out on that 200-period moving average. The last move up there, rejected there. Clearly to the downside, you're using VWAP as that level of support on the 5. I'm looking at the 5, guys. So when I say the 200, I'm talking about the 200 on the 5-minute. If we get a big break of that level, on NVDA, I mean, this could push these markets. And if we gap close from 907 or 908 into that 917, 918, which is HOD right now on NVIDIA, you're probably going to see this market squeeze and me come out of my shorts. So it looks like NVIDIA here could be accumulating at the level above VWAP and below pivot points for a possible break. And then keep your eye on a market move. Goggles right back into that $0.75 area. Let's see where we are on the future. We're about 2 pennies out of the money right now on the future. If we continue to head higher here in these topping till candles, I'm going to start looking long on something. Already took a piece out, and I can be persuaded to look the other way. No problems there. Holy cow, I didn't even have eyes on Lucid today. Lucid's down 13.5%.
Earnings?
What happened? Oh, earnings. Yeah, why am I surprised there? Yeah, I'm not surprised there. We'll keep an eye on that. What else? I'm just looking at my watch list, guys. I'll bring it in so you guys can have a look with me as to what I'm looking at here. Crypto, mixed bag there. MicroStrategy's up 2 1/3. Coinbase down 2 2/3. So some mixed looks there. What else we got? DJT doing nothing. I'm sure DJT will start moving once that testimony starts going over there in New York. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. I'm just looking to see if there's any outsized movers here that are getting my attention. Pharma, not too much to report there. EVGO down 7.5. That's not a really big story. Yeah, not much in the wave there, Adair. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I cuffed your style a little bit there. I tried to take a TQ short. You had a better price than me, for sure. I was trying to get involved to 02s, gave it into 08, so very small risk reward there. But now it looks like we're rejecting off this top of this range. But also, we had a lot of wicks above and we're near high of day. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I'm not like moved by it. You know what I mean? I'm more just meh by it,
Right.
which is not what you want. DraftKings, let's take, okay. This is nice. Someone was telling me DraftKings holding VWAP. Shout out to Manuel Palma. I do like this little wick here off that VWAP area. You know what? I like it even more. Okay, this is a great look, Manuel Palma. Look where we had this resistance, 44.70. Look where VWAP is, 44.70. Look where we bounced again, 44.70. I love this. I'm obsessed with this. The one thing I'm not obsessed with is I feel like we could be compressing to the downside because we do have these wicks here. We have quite a few bearish wicks failing this break into this 45 or 44.95 area. There's something here. I'm not sure what it is yet, but whatever it is, it's motivating me to take the steps necessary to add it to my side chart. By that I mean typing GKNG into my side chart. That's all it takes. So we're gonna add Donkey Kong, DraftKings there, to my side trick. Mildred Collado wants to take a look at Tesla, so let's take a look at Mr. Cybertruck himself. Yeah, this short, that was a killer short there. Shout out to Sharif, who took that Cybertruck to the downside. Making a higher low here, though, which is actually interesting. And we're also kind of making the higher low around, we had the chop and turn earlier at that 179. So I don't know, I think right now we are, and even this rejection is at a slightly higher high as well. So I think we're trying to curl here, but right now we are decisively to the downside. Also shout out to Kanye East, who pointed out, and I forgot to read this earlier, so thank you to you. This coming out at 11:15, Tesla shutting down production in Grünhild for 4 days. So that's their German plant. As the company is preparing, a company's announcing, preparing for announced demonstration against this expansion, and employees are going to work from home. I wonder how you work from home at Tesla. I want to know how that works.
Yeah, well, if you're an engineer and it's all software stuff, then I can kind of get that. But if you're like a production worker, what are you going to do?
You just like draw your Cybertruck?
Go gadget arms? You know what I mean? Like, what's the situation? How are you going to work?
Also, Meta broke.
Yeah, Meta's a monster right now. Okay, I'm in the Apple right now, looking to defend yesterday's closing print. We talked about that. 180.71. Technically, LOD at the moment on the dead one is 78. So I'm looking to defend yesterday's closing print on Apple, hence why I'm long at these levels. I'm also out of my future now, so we profitable on it, but we did get stopped out for the last little bit here as these here markets, where's my future? There it is, sorry. These here markets are headed right back into the high side. We haven't printed HOD on the NQ June contract quite yet, or have we? Let me just move up, because it didn't update. Oh, we're very close. We're less than 10 points away from high of day, so good look there. Long 92s on Apple, so just sub that 182, and I gotta tell you, it's not really bouncing with any vigor here, so we'll keep eyes on the dead one. All right, well, looks like we're 10 pennies in the money now as it does reclaim that 182 level. We'll see if we can make it right back up, but I think Adara was quite astute in pointing out that the Cybertruck is starting to curl back up here. I'm talking about TSLA, and it is finding support, it looks like, at the whole dollar. For whatever reason this time around, 175 acting as a level of support, and it's curling right back up into VWAP, which is about 25 pennies south of that 180 level. It's about that $0.75 of a dollar area on TSLA. But keep your eye on this. I mean, we have some previous resistance there from the morning at this $0.75 of a dollar area. So don't expect just a quick bump up right into 180. That may not happen. So we'll keep eyes on that. As Adara pointed out, META 4 through 70 like a rocket, right back into 470 now, though. I'm not really sure what to make of this. Obviously, Meta has been very strong lately and given you a nice, I guess, discounted price to get into after that sell-off on earnings. But great move up there through the whole dollar level on META. Amazon also had a big move up through that 189 and a quarter, a third, 189 and a quarter was the top there, the local top on Amazon. And then you had a big push through that as well. Look at this on the one. You can see that very, very clearly on the one. You could tell there was definitely a seller in and around here. And then this 1138 candle comes in, and then what seller 189 and a quarter. So good look there for the Amazonian through that $0.25 area. What else we got? What else? Oh, we haven't looked at any small cap gappers for a few minutes. Nothing to my liking. In fact, MSGM now is doing what you expect it to do with these small cap gappers once they break south of VWAP, which is use it as resistance. So any moves into the volume weighted average price on MSGM looks like they are rejecting, save and except for these two outlying candles over here on above average volume. Took place at 11:05 and 11:10. Otherwise, the price action has been below VWAP on MSGM Madeira.
Yeah, MSG, they put,
Don't put
MSG, all
in
the
your food.
additives, but they're at MSGM, so they're not the same. Wow, the puns game are not on when the caffeine is not on. But Palantir.
Huh? Amazon 189.94 HOD. Yeah, man, it's moving, bro. The Katina man's surprised that the Amazon is pamping. So.
Yeah, shout out to Obi, the Amazonian. Also shout out to Amazon here. This is a nice look there, overcoming a lot of strife around that 189, 189.30 area. Like, what do you mean I can't get this package there in 2 days? And it does deliver that move to the upside, the 190. Jeff Bezos, I'm sure, is pleased as punch in his yacht, sipping whatever you sip on a yacht. I don't know what his drink of choice is. But nice look there on Amazon. You know what else? I kept waxing poetic about that resistance level at Palantir before inexplicably taking a long on it. But that resistance around that 2172 coming in hot, fast, furious, vicious, swift, whatever words you want to use. We had that rejection. I want to get short here if we come back and retest that 60s and say, nah, and continue to the downside. That's what I want. That's the look I like. This has not been the trading day of my life. I'm going to be really honest. Yesterday was, but I feel like today I've been able to manage the losses, right? We've been able to keep everything in control. Yesterday, the biggest issue was just getting out of trades too early because of like getting tired of them, which is not a reason to leave a trade. It's really not. I need to pack my patience much better. It looks like I left my luggage yesterday. I lost my luggage in the airport because the patience was not packed. But today, we're coming back locked, loaded, ready to trade, ready to drink some more coffee here, and trying to short Palantir, right Palantir if I come back there.
I like it. I definitely like it. All right. The soft one now has been using the volume weighted average price as its level of resistance. Okay, I got to deal with this Apple trade here. I'm only 3 pennies out of the money on this Apple trade because we added to Apple when it came back down on that. It was holding 77s, now it's not. This isn't the trade for me, I don't think. If it sets up, then I'll get back into it, but I don't want to have to dance with it at lows. That's it. I'm getting out of this trade. Oh, nice. Got out break even as it popped back up there. Nice. But I'm going to look for Apple to set up. I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife. It's obviously at lows right now, whether it defends at 181.70 or not, which is yesterday's closing print. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm not going to guess at these levels. Everything else is moving up except Apple. So why am I trying to go long the one name that's not moving up? That's a stupid endeavor. So I'm not going to do that unless it can prove to me it's going to start curling up. So let's keep an eye on that. Now, the one that I was mentioned is Softy here. So this one was having trouble with the volume weighted average price as a level of resistance at 412.75. It's broken through that, it looks like here. Let's see if this candle closes. How much time do we have left on this candle? About 1.25 minutes left on this 5-minute candle. I want to see if this candle closes the way it is. If it is, then you've reclaimed VWAP on a closing basis on the 5. You're putting in these higher lows, and we could possibly be doing a rounded bottom and curling back up maybe to go green on the day. To go green, we just got to break above that 413 half dollar. And it looks like we are here on Softy as it's starting to curl right back up. So good look right now on Softy at these levels. Google as well, also having issues with that 171 area. Been obviously very strong. Higher lows coming in here really well on Google, but it really can't take that 171 on any closing basis, and that goes right into the beginning of the day, right from 9:30 when we got into 171. It's been rejecting it, but since that time, it's been putting in higher lows. So look for a possible flat top break through 171. Now you've printed above 171. It's not like there's a seller sitting there at the whole dollar. You have 171.09 HOD, and you've broken it on these pumps over here. You got to 04s. You got we got to 04s on that candle. So we'll continue to watch goggles, but it looks like it's Meta here. Meta is just flying up. Printed another new high at day, 471.36. Meta on the way up, rounded bottom and all. Held 460 to the T, bounces off pivots, and now it's $10 higher than where we bottomed out there right at the open. META skyrocketing up there. Oh, 910 coming also as well on NVIDIA.
Yeah, I got short Celsius. This was a choice. I have forgotten how to trade a stock that is the magnitude of a Celsius. And by that, you know, with that degree of heat, by that I mean this is a stock that is like over $50. It moves like that. I have not traded a stock over $50 since going live. And I think my brain forgot the way these move. I was like, oh, this will probably be like 20 pennies up here to the side. No, it's like $1 higher. It's like a dare. That's how charts work. That makes sense. I do not know what I'm doing apparently, but you know what? That's why I'm honestly really honored and happy always that I get to have my journey from, well, honestly, my whole trading journey here with this awesome community, but especially going from TMS to live. It's a different beast. And so I don't know if this is a situation anyone else has had where you just forget how scale works and how if you're trading a stock with a range bottom of 75 and a top of 77, you're gonna have to risk more than like 2 pennies. You know what I mean? So if we break decisively above 50s, bye-bye. We're trying to risk 35 pennies. I want minimum 75, so I'm happy with that. This was a trade. I don't know how I feel about this at all, but I'm happy I took it because I liked what I saw. And I think that's important, is trusting your instincts more. Are my instincts great? Always? A lot of the time, no. But I think that's the point, is you have to develop things. You have to, you know, figure out what you want. And you know, no one, unless, you know, like there's innate talent, people who are able to just see things and go in every sport. And of course, like, you know, Sean Neal, Sharif, definitely everybody having stuff on lock. Obi with his, you know, his tape reading and stuff. I got nothing on lock,
bro.
But you know, but if people have different, the point is like as through time you get more and more accustomed, right? So we're gonna hopefully see if we can turn the heat up a little bit in the Celsius to the downside. But right now I just wanted to talk about that because as Sharif was talking there, I was like a scared puppy being like, what's going on here in this trade? But you know, I'm in the money now. I'm happy I took it, and I'm happy that I didn't panic sell because that would have been, I think, a more colossal mistake than not realizing how math works, which is what I was initially doing. So you know what? I want to talk about that. Apple in negative, says Paula Blackford. Yeah, Apple did. I guess those magic pencils weren't too magic there on that Apple magic pencil. Mara looks like inverted head and shoulders. Take another look at Mara there for James Gadidi. Yeah, this, head and shoulders, I'm not 100% sure, but I see what you mean. We've had this repeated 1, 2, 3 rejection of 2010. I think for me, it looks a bit more like a range than inverted head and shoulders. And you know what? This goes on the side chart. Palantir and I are just not pals. It's clear. So Palantir, there's no spot for it, Palantir, on the side chart anymore. We're gonna have to replace it with my good buddy Mara, which I wanna play this range of if we keep, and I mean, I'm not BPI, I'm not the Mara indicator of Trader TV, to make that very clear. But I do think that there's something in the water here as we ping pong back and forth between 2010 to 2040. You know, marathon's a sport, but right now the sport this chart's mimicking a little bit more is tennis or ping pong.
All right.
How are you doing?
Got short Amazon at, this is the reason I got in. Let me show you. The top pink tail candle on the 5. We took a nice 20 penny winner on this one, super quick, with this one coming in almost into 190. So you get that 189.94 pop, and then this candle develops. And when I saw that candle, I was very, very excited. I was like, okay, this is good. Let's see what this next one comes. Are we going to get a bamboozling candle to kind of, you know, bait in the shorts because they see a topping tail on the 5 into a key level. It's that $10 level, 190, yada, 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 right? We have all those check marks next to its name. It didn't bamboozle me, thankfully, but keep in mind that we do have this 189.25, 189 and 1/5, for whatever reason, has acted as a level of support on the day. Well, sorry, it wasn't support earlier. It was definitely resistance. We couldn't break it, but then this big boy candle came in, and we did. So look for the bottom to, you know, hold up at this 189.25. It could be a little bit higher. It looks like it may be holding up at the third here. So not quite at that dollar, holding up at the 10 period on the 5, which is at the third. 189.25 AMZN finding some support. As Amazon popped into that 189 level, well, sorry, 190 level, the dead one, Apple, decided, I don't really care. Closing print, I don't really respect that. I'm going low, baby. And down it went, 189.43 LOD on AAPL, breaking through yesterday's closing print at that $0.75 area, and now giving back the entire aftermarket move that we made yesterday on the news that they were going to have their own silicon and build their own products. We got Raheem Alani in the building, baby. All right. Okay, he's looking sharp as always. Looking good, Raheem. My man Raheem Alani in the house.
Up.
Oh, he's always suited up.
Fresh fit.
Yeah, that's how Raheem rolls. So Raheem Alani in the house bringing a guest. I don't know if we're going to have him on. Maybe the Brendo's going to interview him later. I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, AAPL, LOD at the moment. We'll see if this one can reclaim that level. The real good looker, though, man, is Goggles and Meta. New high a day as we speak. Google just broke through that 13 print. Now we're talking about a $0.25 print coming in. We just printed $0.01 of a dollar, the $0.25 incoming here on as Google prints and continues to hold the 20 period on the deeper dips. It's a bull flag extraordinaire, man. This has been a great look for Google on the day. Guys, Google year to date is up 22.5%. I mean, I didn't really feel like Google was up all that much. Compare that to Meta, which, you know, was up way more, obviously, before that earnings dip. Meta's only up 33%. So, I mean, I'm not saying only, but I felt that Meta was just so much higher year to date than Google. Not really. Only 11% so far. So good look for Meta. It's putting a bit of a topping tail candle. Oh, sorry, Google. Putting a bit of a topping tail candle right now into that 170-120 and breaking down below 171. So I hope that's not another topping tail candle, the likes of which we saw on Amazon. And Amazon's continuing down. So it looks like I got at that one too early. I see some excitement happening on that side, and I see a purple triangle, and the price action is lower, which means somebody is in the money.
Yeah, I mean, Celsius is an energy drink, and I think I have exerted a lot of energy just breathing and watching this guy.
You're good.
I got involved. Hey, I appreciate that. I got involved here, and then I immediately was like, you guys saw me. I was like patting like a puppy. I was like, what's happening here? I don't know what's going on. And then, because I think in my brain, I was so, this is the most expensive stock by at least 10 to 15 bucks that I've traded since going live. But I really like the setup. It wasn't, you know, in the realm of insanity. We're not talking AVGO. We're talking Celsius. We're talking 75 bucks. So I was okay with that. If we keep bouncing here, I'll just get out at 80s. This is the other thing I need to get used to again, wider spreads. It's like Adara, you traded these in the sim. It's been a couple weeks, but that doesn't mean you can't get reaccustomed to them. So Adara, welcome back to stocks that are more than $50. Nice to meet you. If I like a setup, I'm going to take it. I like the Celsius. I think we're turning the heat up to the downside, and I had that little moment of excitement because we had that nice drop there. But yeah, basically, the moral of the story was just making sure that your risk management makes sense with the price of your stock. I've been getting used to trade, like risking max 10 to 20 pennies on these little cheaper stocks, but it's like on a Celsius, you're going to have to risk a little bit more with the spread. So I was going to risk up it to 50s. We weren't able to make it above 50s. Thank Garsh. I'm going to try to be taking some profits here if we bounce back at 80s, because I'm noticing we're getting a little bit compressed. But if we want to keep going lower, we'll take this Celsius and bottom jeans, boots with the fur. That made no sense. And the whole club's going to be looking at you, Celsius. Neil saying it makes all the sense in the world. Thank you for flattering me there with that CLH. Also, Upstart reporting earnings coming up, and I like this look. We had these lower highs here. Now we're rejecting a little bit at that bottom. This 25.35. This might be a time to be alive here. Shout out to Drake, I guess. We might have to take this short here. I don't know how the future is going to look here for this UPST, but that track. Also, Kazrao OW with the $2 super chat addressing you.
Oh, bang. $2. Shout out to my man Kazro. Ow. Sharif, remember this. NVDA going way up on ARM. What's ER mean? ARM earnings, earnings report. Yes, thank you, ER earnings report. Okay. All right, I like it. Look, I mean, ARM obviously is doing its own thing for mobile and using less energy, this, that, and the other, but there doesn't mean there can't be overlap with both. We saw a big correction, I think a little while ago on ARM, as you know, it was well extended there through that 160 area. Now, we actually gave up $100. Don't forget that. So, big retracement on ARM. Let's have a look here on these fibs. All right, let's just look quickly before we send it to Neil. Let's just look at these fibs and see exactly how much of the retracement we gave up. Was that 50? We got it to the top there. So we, oh wow, we almost gave the entire move back. We held some support there at the the 75% retracement. All right, guys, Neil is ready to draw pot lines. It is now the lesson of the day with Neil.
Welcome to the lesson of the day. Today's lesson is you can be stubborn, or you can be determined, or you can just be absolutely convinced that something is going to happen in the market. But when it doesn't go that way, you have to find ways in which you can limit the damage. So if your original thesis is something that doesn't work out, or does work out, you have to be careful going back into the well. Like, positive reinforcement can get you into trouble sometimes against the trend, but that negative reinforcement, you've got to try to find a way to survive it. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas here with regards to, hey, I'm looking for something very particular, and you kind of get what you want, and this is what ideally it should always look like. So Disney, and I'm going to talk about specifically the SSR bounce play and the stock being down 10%, looking for that one little bounce, take your shot, and then it doesn't work out. Now on Disney, there were multiple opportunities to catch bids. You could have caught a bid in the pre-market in here when the earnings call started. You could have caught one in at like 105.50, which was the bigger move. I was waiting for it to be 10% to the downside. Once it was 10%, it made a low. I got in. We scalped some out. I'm looking for it to break that top and make another move in. I move my stop higher to break even. At that point, it continues to trend down. Now, that's the perfect scenario, right? Where you have something which is against the grain. I mean, ultimately, it was never going to be a home run, given my entry parameters, but doesn't turn into a loser because you only get in the one time to your stop. It works enough that you can't turn it red. That's fine. But sometimes you're going to have a thesis or an idea that doesn't play that way. And I'll show you guys, look, Palantir was more or less the perfect example of that. The SSR bounce, or at least the way that it works the best, was the initial trade at the open. And you can get all the FOMO you want out of this at the open, but it gave you that 22 bounce right through the even and goes all the way to 22.70. I missed the punch down here. I actually had a stop in, thank goodness. I had a stop in before I was in position. It hit, I'm like, oh, don't want short, punched out flat. And then I went to go manually long, missing the even dollar, not getting it in until it was past 22.10. At that point, the risk to the low is a little bit different, so I'm not in a full position. It comes back. We reloaded off 22, it can't hold. At this point, I'm looking for pretty much every single key level for the SSR bounce play. And the next one to come in was simply going to be a 2160. I gotta go to a 15-minute chart for you to see. Was it gonna be the 2160 level right in here? Once again, back into the 3-minute, Palantir attempts to make a bounce. There's a big hammer candle in. It bounces right off 60 to get me into the long. It starts going 10 cents up. It's about to go to that 1-to-1, and it flushes, and we get stopped out again. At that particular point, like, you've taken it multiple times, but it just isn't working. At some point, you've got to ask yourself, where is the next setup? Do I want to fight it? This is where I backed off and allowed it to either make the obvious level, which ended up being $1 down if it made another low, or allow it to show a little bit more strength with a double bottom, some strength at that same area that I was getting into the long, where you've actually held a low and then a higher low, and that almost gets it into VWAP. Where you can get into trouble with this strategy is took my shot at 22, worked, took my shot, didn't. And this is my mistake for having more risk here on the way back in than I did on the way up, right? Like, risk to reward matters. There was this wick where you could have jumped into the long again, but you know what? That'd be taking every setup and not just the ones that fit the strategy. We then waited until we got to our preferred price, that 21.6, and then a very, very tight stop. This long here, stop not to the low, stop to the local high, risking about 10 cents. If you're going to take multiple shots at something against the grain, have yourself an entry parameter or an entry price range, which is easily definable. Make sure you stick to your route when it gets there. No matter how nasty it looks at the end of the day, as long as you adhere to your risk plan, it's not going to be terrible. I can tell you, despite all these swings and going against the grain, if it breaks VWAP, I would go green on Palantir. But that's only because of the relative discipline of adhering to that stop. Some trades are going to be really, really simple, like I showed you guys on that Disney. You risk it, it hits your level, you get in and out one time, you adhere to your stop, you don't get cute about it. Like I could be just adding into here for no good reason, it's still trending down, and then suddenly that turns into a red trade. If I'm just adding, that's not the way I'm looking for it. I want that relief bounce. And if it doesn't give me the relief bounce, then we're just not going to take it. Every trade is going to be different. I'll give you another example before I get us out of here. And this is Nikola. I like Nikola short side on earnings. It flushed right away. Shreve's having a good time. It flushed right away at the open. I don't get it. I mean, I'm not sitting there. I'm looking at Palantir and all those other earnings plays, so I don't get the short. I allow it to come back into the resistance level. It shows me that 62, so we're getting more shares in. But sometimes you've just got to be able to listen to it. Now, I've got one order to get full position. It bounced off VWAP once. It's tough to see. But this volume candle right in here, big volume spike that takes it back through VWAP. So I'm going to listen to the stock here. It's still a wipeout bottom with a higher low off VWAP. You could say you're panicking out here, but I'm taking another quarter out. It's like I like to trade still, but it's showing me signs of a trend. So I can make two decisions. Either I'm going to cancel this order and not reload back in, or I'm going to take some out for a profit and then get back in a cent and a quarter higher. Now, when you're risking a penny on this stock, a cent or around 1.5 cents does matter in this particular case. Risk to reward does matter. So always listen to not just your gut, but what the stock is telling you. Adhere to your stop level. You can go 1 for 4 and be green on the stock if you have reasonable risk to reward and you're able to hold for a bigger move. That's the other side of it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Palantir did almost make that 50-cent recovery through VWAP. We're risking 10 cents. So you can go 1 for 4 as long as you're capturing a good portion of that. But if you're not adhering to your stop and you're taking 7, 8, 9, 10 entries instead of 2, 3, 4, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt. There are going to be days where you come in really liking something, really liking a setup, really liking a trend, and it goes in the other direction. Just make sure that the shots you take are the ones that you planned on based on an actual and reasonable risk to reward. And if the stock shows you something trending in the other direction that might be throwing you for a loop, don't be afraid to take some risk off. It's the same thing as, oh, it's even stronger than you expected. Average up, not average down. That's something traders can do, and I think it's a good idea. But in other situations, you can always trim risk if it's not making any sense. You can always forego a re-entry if it's not making any sense. You can always tighten a stop if it's not making any sense. Those are the ways that you can survive on a risky day. I don't mind flat days. We talked about this the other day. I don't mind a day every now and then where you go 2 for 5 or 2 for 6. But if you can be flat on a day that you're right 1 in 4, that just tells me that your risk to reward on individual plays was in the pocket. Then when you're shooting 60, 70%, you're going to be green, no problems. It all starts from risk management. How much are you willing to lose? And when and how are you going to listen to yourself or listen to the market when it's telling you not to be as aggressive as you were at that open or when you had that original idea in your head when you're preparing for those charts. Palantir was always going to be rough because the SSR bounce, the bounce off the even, none of them were clean. You had one good shot and it couldn't even get to VWAP. Unless you had that one at the open, it was never going to be perfect. And when that's the case, all you can do is limit the loss and ensure that when it does go, you bank a good portion of that win. Pay yourself out. Don't fight the trend forever. Always have some kind of a stop. I was asked, do you always have hard stops? I said 99.9% of the time. There's the the odd chance I might be trading something and my hands are on the keys. It's not for much. I'll just punch it out myself at the end of the day. But everything else, I'm going to use a hard stop because I don't want to get caught with one trade ruining a day, ruining a week, ruining a month. That's the thing that you're trying to avoid as a trader. And then the rust builds off of that. That's your lesson of the day. Learn when to be able to get out, and you should always have that plan going into the trade and be willing to adjust it, especially when you're going against a big time trend.
Should call it hot lines with Neil. Thank you very much, Neil, for that. Well said and very insightful as always. Shout out to Neil. All right, baby. We got short Meta here, and this was a bit of a fat finger on my part. We looked to take 471 short, and I ended up taking out the entire thing. So that's a mistake for me, and then I ended up getting long here accidentally by one share, one whole share. So a little bit disappointed in myself for this trade, but the idea was sound here with these topping tail candles on Meta coming back down off that 471. Did touch 471.5, but we had 471s. Keep your eye out on the Meta all the way to, I would say, this 468 area is interesting. Also, you know, if it does respect these moving averages, it could base out at 469 or wherever the 20 period is printing at the time. Here comes, though, 47 just broke aggressively. 470 broke aggressively, and now you're well below 470. They are breaking into 469s. Nice top there on META as it does come back down. Now, this area over here that we have, 469.5, was a local top. I mean, the better area, in my opinion, is 468, where you get a deeper retracement, but we have to be cognizant of 469.5. Reason is, we topped there at around 1130, came back down to 468.5 before going and taking that level on a closing basis. So 469.5 could be the bottom end of the short, and then you could maybe possibly curl back up. And as I say that, it is putting a hammer candle off that 469.5 now. Whether it ends up closing off, you know, at this shape, I'm talking about this 5-minute candle right now that's developing on Meta, we'll have to wait and see. But 469.5 featuring yet again as a level of either resistance or support. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about here, we're kind of topping out on the future. We are putting in some higher lows, trying to hold up that 10 period on the 5 on the NQ. But keep in mind that not everything is moving up like Meta and Google, that you have some stagnation here with respect to Tesla, Apple, and even Microsoft on the day. Now, this one was a little dead earlier, and by this one I mean NVDA, but we are now at these pre-market tops. So there could be a short here on NVDA in front of 915. That was a pre-market top. You're not going to catch me shorting NVDA. I will look to take it on the other side, or using a derivative, sorry, NVDL. You don't happen to know if they're pay for shorts today?
NVDL is pay for shorts today.
Are they? Okay. Oh, you tried. Okay. So Adara knows what's going on there. So we'll have to secure the shorts once one of the big kahunas comes back. But keep your eye, 915-ish, 914-ish area, pre-market top on NVDA there.
Yeah. Wait. I don't. Yeah. I did try. I was just trying to remember because I wanted to short this area initially.
Right.
And then went long. And then clearly got out of the long too early. My goodness. But that's why you live and learn. Also, I dropped this in the chat, but I want to say it out loud as well. So the Celsius short, I wasn't able to scalp it out as quickly as I wanted to. Then I wanted to set my order for my exit. And had I typed it in properly, we would have been fine because we've been having enough chop and turn. It would have been an okay level. I wanted like 70s. Yeah, no. So about that, I had a fat finger moment, got a cool 2-penny profit. Super proud. I mean like 2 penny per share. Like please just punch. Good times. Then, and I say that mildly sarcastically, but then I was like, you know what, Adara? I was saying this earlier too, we're having lower highs. If you want to keep playing this range, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. So you know what? I did. I'm just giggling because I'm very happy with myself because this is, you know, sometimes you got to switch it up. And, you know, I got involved initially 26.10s, added when we held up that 75, 26. That's a 7, Adara. 76.10s. Then added at 75.95s when we bounced there. If we break below 75.75, I'm going to have to say sayonara. But I liked this because it was holding up. And I think I was saying earlier, you have to risk a little bit more when you're trading a stock that is a little bit more, right? You have to risk things proportionately. So that's the look there. Michael MB, shout out to you. 2-penny club, spin it. I'll spin it. There we go.
Money, 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 money.
Voguing there. Yeah, we're killing it with the little side. I was not prepared for the little face there. But yeah, so shout out to you, Michael MB. Yeah, I think, you know, sometimes you got to celebrate the victories, even though that was a fat finger move. Happy we did take some profit there. And I'm going to stay in this until we have that breakdown because I do think there could be some motion in the ocean here. I want to get out part of the position at 76.10. So obviously not a huge winner, but saving pieces for dreams. Also, Akash asking about that D-Dog 113 breakdown. Yeah, let's take a look at. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're looking at. This was a big area of support earlier, that 113 area. Then we have that move up. We touch that 116 twice. We double top, fall to the downside. The dogs start barking again at that 113. And then they fall out a little bit at that. I don't know why I barked. I'm so sorry. They fall back. I cannot believe I did that with my life. Fall back at that 114. And now the hounds start banging a little bit to the downside. We have these slightly lower highs here below VWAP. I will say, I can't say for sure if there is a breakdown. I will say if we do have a breakdown, I would be absolutely watching what we do at 111. Why? Because that was a bottom twice. We got it first at 8:15, then we get it again at that crucial moment after the open. We get it around that 9:50 time. So I think that could be interesting because we have these lower highs here coming off VWAP. Yeah, I think it is certainly possible, Akash, that you could make some Akash on this breakdown. But yeah, shout out to you. And I think certainly it seems like the dogs are barking here. I just want to see in which way their howls end up moving. Also, shout out to Pillsbury, who I know is making lots of range trades in the chat. So shout out to you for sharing your range trades in the chat, and I always like seeing them. This pretty tight, coiled little SQ range. Looks like we could be breaking down a little bit here. This is one I take short because we're down about we're down almost 2% in the day. So I think if we keep taking this rejection here around that 72.40, 72.30, I like this range. It is going on the side chart. Thank you very much to Pillsbury for putting that out there. Shout out to Michael MB saying that we're a perfect duo. I'm always happy to be here. Please just punch and making some puns.
Oh,
what are you up to?
absolutely. I just got long Amazon trying this 20-period retracement on the 5 at 25s. Where did I get long? I got long 27s. We'll see if this base, well, this was not a base. This was a top. Let's see if it now acts as a base. So this area over here on the Amazon, it doesn't look like it's going to hold up here. We'll see if it does. It just broke down below the 20s. It was a quick wick and then a move up. But the future does seem to be possibly topping out here. So the whole premise upon which I got into this trade on AMZN was this area top over here. Now, when we clear the tops by some distance, you look for the tops to act as bottoms. Whether that comes into play right now with Amazon, an entirely different story. I think my line in the sand will be the break of that 10-penny area. We'll give it to around right there, and we'll exactly see what happens. So Amazon is a decent strength stock on the day. It's up 0.25%, nothing really great. The 5-minute chart looks better than most, hence why we got into this. But a big move down here on Tesla, an equivalent move down here on MSFT. The softy one headed down. I mean, Apple's already been weak on the day. It's been kind of hugging that 10-period moving average quite aggressively to the downside. So we'll see if that one can continue to head down. But keep in mind, this area here on 179 has been an interesting area of support on TSLA, so possibly looking for something on that. I missed that 50-period short on Tesla. That was in play. We had that one earlier, and it came in again, and alas, I didn't take it this time. So this time, it looked even a bit better because it was a little bit closer to that 180 level. So you could have been looking to base it off that 180 general area and maybe give it like another 15, 20 pennies to the high side. So good luck for Tesla as it heads back down, but this, well, we're out of the Amazon trade now as it did break below my level. I'll look for something possibly at 189 again because I do like that possible level there, and that's where the volume weighted average price is as well. So we'll look to defend something on the Amazon at these here levels. We'll see if we can come into 189. We'll get a bit of a better price than where it's trading at right now. So let's keep an eye on that. I don't really have anything else here. I'm keeping an eye, obviously, on NVIDIA. It is knocking the door of that 915, but I have this area earmarked as a possible area of resistance. So I'm not quick to want to either short or get long on this. But if we do reject, you got to think something decent, maybe at least to 906, 907 off a 915 rejection if we reject at these levels. So we'll keep eyes on that one. And I'll keep eyes on Amazon as well because I don't mind getting back in for VWAP 189 defend. I put my order there, but it's not coming back down into my order. I just don't want to chase it because if I get a better price, then that's better for me. So we'll keep eyes on that. All right, choppy day, says Elon. That's just kind of how it is. We'll keep eyes on that. What else everybody's talking about? Amazon breaks down, says Asta. Yeah, just perfect time for me to get long on that bad boy, but it looks like it is headed back up here without me, Asta, as my long at 05 is destined to go unfilled, it looks like here, for a possible VWAP support on Amazon Adair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of myself for sticking with this Celsius. I'm not trying to, toot my own horn, but I think sometimes you have to like recognize when things go well and when things don't. And yesterday, I kept saying, oh my gosh, my trades need caffeine. What is happening? What am I doing with my life? Ad nauseum. But today, it's like, you know what? I'm trading the caffeine name and it's gotten some energy. So this Celsius energy trade, I added to this because I noticed we kept holding this 75. I had Bob Dylan's blowing in the wind in my head, like how many times must a level hold up before it stops being a level? Obviously I'm paraphrasing, but yeah. But then I was like, Adair, if it's the answer, my friend, is happening in the chart. If we're holding up, get involved. And I'm so happy I did. I got involved. I added to at the 80s because we were holding up that bottom I wanted to see. I said, if we drop below 75, I'm out. And we keep bouncing off 75. So I said, you know what, Adara? I think this might be your last hurrah. And this, well, I mean, I'm still keeping an eye on it, but it's going to be my last hurrah in this trade. Got out at 70, just above 76, I think around 76.07. Please just punch. And these are the type of trades I need to be taking more of. It's just these ranges, just taking advantage of these opportunities, really tight levels that I like. And that's why, again, shout out to Pillsbury making some dough on that SQ short below, that range short below VWAP. That's something I want to be taking advantage of. And it's funny that it took, and I said, this is the type of stock I haven't really traded since going live, since going live. But it's interesting how it just takes seeing the type of stocks you used to trade to have the right approaches you need to be making. This is the type of stuff I need to be doing, is taking these tight ranges and adding and subtracting as needed according to the plan to make it happen. So really proud of myself. This was a bit more of a herky-jerky kind of time. There were times when boots were being shaken and I was like, what shall I do? But I'm happy I stuck with it. So I'm going to stop waxing poetic about Celsius energy and change the temperature in here. Over to Disney, because Anthony Kerr is like, what about the House of Mouse? You know what? Mickey and Minnie, I think right now, probably a little bit sad. Crying cartoon tears, because we are headed to the downside. That was sad today. But yeah, I don't think Mickey and Minnie are too pleased as punch right now. And this is we've been holding to this 90 MA so tightly. We try to wick above it into VWAP. Nope, sold off. And to me, the biggest level here, this 107. I know Sean was trading, I believe, earlier off this 107 on the old House of Mouse. But so we come here, 107 support, 107 resistance, chop and churn for a good half hour here, then continuing to fall to the downside. Now, though, we're kind of coming into maybe an area around this 104.50, previous support popping back into resistance. Right now, though, this House of Mouse, I don't know, not too many Mickey Mouse pretzels being eaten here, kind of a Saturday here. For also shout out to, because that is a delicacy at Disney World and it's a good time. But yeah, and it's not even like we really have any level. We've fallen below our February 8th kind of level here. We're in no man's land or no mouse land here on Disney. Disney's in no mouse land, and I think, yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what we do here. Celsius popped a little bit higher, but you know what? Temperatures can get high. I'm happy I got out where I did, so we're gonna say no mo to FOMO. And yeah, I think Disney, if it breaks above that 104.50 area I mentioned, this could be a nice look.
All right, we're long the Amazon at VWAP. Already wet my beak on a little bit of profit there for 10-penny winner. We'll see if VWAP can hold up. I'm just going to hold the rest of this. Stops already in place, and we'll see if it can make it up maybe into that 189.50. That's where we have a bit of a local top at that 50-penny level. But alas, it must continue a little bit higher than where it is right now. Let's see if we can knock on the door of a quarter. All right, so that's a good look there for the Amazonian, but the best look in the market, I would say not the market, but in the Mag 7 world is goggles. Look at Google Go. Go, Google, go.
Google.
Yeah, right? Go, Google, go. No, it's a great look today for goggles. And I mean, the deeper retracements, I always mention this, go into the 20. They didn't even quite make it into the 20. You had to be a little bit aggressive in putting your order a little bit above the 20, but the shallow retracements all hug the 10 on the 5-minute, the 10 EMA, that's what I mean, on the 5-minute chart. That's what I'm talking about, and we're printing highs. 170, 142, HOD on GOOGL, great look there. Look for, if you're looking to get into this, I mean, it is kind of late, obviously, 12:30, well, not that late, let's be real. Maybe look to get in off the 10 period here on a more shallow retracement. Maybe look to, front run it by a couple of pennies so you can ensure a fill. That's how I would look to get into Google if I was looking to trade that. So we'll keep an eye on Google at these here levels. NVIDIA does seem to be, putting in a little bit of a local top, but as Adara said, NVDL is a pay for short setup here on the floor. So there's no big kahunas at the moment, so I won't be able to get any shorts. We'll look for a possible rejection off this level here. This 915 level on NVIDIA, this was a local top in the pre, okay? Now make of that what you will, but right now we are kind of topping out generally at 915, now breaking through 913 on our way into 912. Key areas of support I'd look for, that 908 area. We had a bit of a local top there at 908, so that could flip to support after acting as resistance. If we continue to break down, obviously, I've got my eyes on VWAP at 905, 904, and 3/4. So keeping an eye out there on NVDA. It does look like it is coming back down now. A nice little curl back down. The dead one, Apple, continuing to print lower lows and lower highs. The move here on Apple, in my humble opinion, is an entry short off a 10-period retracement on the 5. So again, I've shown you this in the past. I'll show it to you again. If you have the option, like I do on my platform, to buy and sell stocks based upon the chart, so you go, example, short sale, I want to short Apple at the 10 period. I just hit my short sale there, and I can drag and drop that order so that I can move it to align with the 10 period, because the 10 period is, and all these EMAs are, they're all dynamic levels. They're not stagnant. So keeping an eye on that. We'll look to get in short here on Apple. All right, Amazon coming back down after holding up at the volume weighted average price. I was able to wet my beak on some profits. Now I want to see, does Amazon hold up that general 189 area and VWAP? So there is two reasons why I need to be interested in 189 as a level of support. The whole dollar level as well as the volume weighted average price. Let's see if 189 generally can hold and I can get a curl back up maybe to the 50s on AMZN. Adira.
Everything about like the way you like that on AMZ and then the creative ways to say Adira always make me LOL. Also, yeah, Apple bottom jeans, but Apple maybe not bottoming out there. So yeah, I had to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we know me.
It doesn't want to go down. I mean up.
Yeah, it does not. Yeah, no, nothing all the way up there for AAPL. Also, TQs. I tried to take a range trade. I felt very invigorated. There was no caffeine, unfortunately, in that CELH trade, but it caffeinated me. It inspired me. It got me, I'm going to sound like an old Lifetime movie now, it got me back into the feelings of what I really love about trading, right back before going live and just seeing those ranges and taking advantage of them. I sound like, again, an old man in a Lifetime movie, but that's not really the point. The point is, I felt inspired, and it's like I need to keep looking for those setups that I love. I liked this setup here in the Qs. We were bouncing off that 59.10-ish area, but we're dropping below, so we're gonna be skedaddling out on over here. I wanted to give this into those wicks around that 59.07. If we break below that, I am out. We did. I am. It's all good, baby. It wasn't all a dream, though. I did lose on that trade.
All good.
But yeah, but that's all good. It means like you just got to keep going, keep climbing, and again, as Sean always says, and something I've always taken to heart as a scared trader is an efficient trader.
Bang.
I was very scared taking that CELH trade because it was the most expensive stock I've traded since going live, and the spread reflected that. But it's like, you know what? I like the level, so I'm really happy I took it. And same with this TQQs. Did it work out? No. Were there a couple red candles suggesting to me maybe it wouldn't have before I even entered? Sure. But I took it because I liked it. And I think that's something I want to focus on a little bit more. You know, I definitely do not have 7 rings, but I'm still adhering to Ariana Grande's. I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Although, yeah, we don't even have a single ring over here right now. These markets are like, no, Adara, you got to work a little bit harder before you get to that level. I'm like, oh, okay, markets, I respect that. But yeah, right now, though, CELH kind of continuing to respect this rejection as it gets into 77. I definitely missed the big boy rejection to Bora Sharifism here. But I mean, I think there's something in the water. I don't want to rush, but this is a chart that I'm very into, the CELH. I also still have square on my side chart or block. Shout out again to Pillsbury. This one's circling back into that range area, pun intended, so I might have to take advantage of that trade. That was a YOLO trade, Adara. LOL says Alexander. Oh yeah, on the TQs a little bit. But you know what? I'm so happy I got it where I did, because look at this. I got out because we broke below, and now we're below 59. So again, I think a lot of it, I'm always proud if there's ways I'm able to help with the risk management, even if the trade isn't perfect. I'm happy if I'm able to extricate myself safely, like in a Jason Bourne movie, hopping out of a moving vehicle or whatever. We're gonna chug some coffee. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at NVDL. I was looking for a dip trade on NVDL to look for a 10 period or 20 period defend on the 5 on NVDA, which is around 410. But I'm going to have to cancel this trade because I don't want to manage it while I do the lesson du jour. And that is what we're going to do right now. We are talking about IPOs, SPACs, direct listings all week, and how to trade them, all the different types of trades that you can take on these bad boys. Today, we're talking about continuation plays. So by necessity, that means from day 2 onward, right? So then we can have, I guess really the benefit of this is having some levels off which you can base those trades. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So Adara and Obi went over opening day ideas for IPO, SPACs, and DLs yesterday. But what about day 2 plays? This lesson will get into continuation strategies for these here stocks. So let's get right to it. So beyond day 1, trading IPOs, SPACs, direct listings on day 1 can be great when it comes to volatility, but not every trader is suited or interested in that kind of trading. Trading on day 2 and beyond can provide, first and foremost, levels, right? Traders can have a better sense of which levels, if any, the stock is respecting on the, well, usually at this level, we're looking at the opening print from day 2, the closing print from day 1, the high, the low from day 1, as well as any obvious areas of support and resistance in between that. So you're gonna have basically 1 day worth of trading, or 2 days if you're trading on day 3. So your levels, you're probably looking at the half an hour, you're looking at the 15-minute, and then you want that open, close, high, low print from yesterday. And you maybe as well, if it was trading in the pre-market, you want to chart those pre-market levels as well, especially if a decent amount of volume. Speaking of volume, liquidity, as discussed during yesterday's session, liquidity can be lacking in day 1 IPO stocks. Depends, really. There could be plenty of liquidity. There can be a vacuum of liquidity. It really is going to depend on the name. The days following an asset's debut can result in extra attention on the stock and allow for more liquidity and tighter spreads, making it easier to trade. Again, we're not sure exactly which IPO, right? All of them have a little bit of a different flavor here. So some key strategies for this is, number 1, sit on your hands and analyze the name. What is it doing? Watch the chart. Watch the tape for the name that you're interested in here, the days after its debut. Get a sense of how the asset moves. Is it moving 10 pennies at a time or 1 penny at a time? Does it seem to have an area that it has a good area of support or resistance at? So get acquainted with the name, get acquainted with the levels and the style of how it moves. You hear me talk a lot about this range per candle. Is the range per candle really wide? If it's not, you can probably take a little bit more in terms of size, have your stop a little bit closer. Every one is going to be different. Then, once you analyze it, know how it's trading, its characteristics, you're going to start putting together a plan. You want to visualize the plan and the details of trade. Are you looking to scalp? Are you looking to take a breakout? Are you looking to play the range? Make sure that you plan accordingly in order to execute your trade. And once you've got that plan, you got to start looking at your entry and exit points. Where are you going to get in? Where are you going to get out? Where's your profit taker? Where's your stop? Are you basing it on the ATR of 1 day? Are you basing it on the range per candle? What are you basing this on? So make sure that you're articulating these justifications to yourself. So put a plan into action, given the volatility that can be present even in the second day IPOs and SPACs and even DLs, which we haven't had a whole lot of lately. Think of like the Reddits, think of the DJTs. Make sure you're able to get in and out according to your strategy. That means if it's super spready, that means you're going to take smaller size, right? And some other important considerations to take into account, the spread, perfect segue there. The spread on recent IPOs, SPACs, and direct listings can still be larger than that of the average stock of its size in the days after its debut. Could be suffering possibly from a lack of liquidity. Be aware of the spread when planning and executing your trade, particularly with regards to entrances, exits, and your stops. I've made this point in the past, and I really want to make it again. If you're going to use a limit order, make sure that you're using a stop limit order. The reason is it kind of gives you some added protection. You have a triggering price with your stop order, and you have a limit price. You have two data points that you have to enter into the system there. And by having the triggering price a bit away from the limit price, you give the computer a bit of a buffer to get you out of that position. So say I want to get out 165 on Apple, and I say 164.75, I could be giving myself 25 pennies worth of space. That's not what I would want to do, right? And the reason I don't use a market order is because sometimes with these SPACs, market orders can get you in a whole lot of trouble because it can really move against you. So that's some trading techniques for spreads there for IPOs. And your risk management, equally as important. So due to their spread and the volatile nature that is often present in these type of names, be prepared to make a hasty getaway, right, from the trade and set up your stop spread after you get in, if not before. So make sure you've got a flatten key, like a cancel key, like a get me out of trouble key. That's really what you're looking for here in case your orders get run through and don't get triggered. You need to be able to kind of get out of Dodge super quick. And remember, guys, with IPO trades and like, it's even more important that you plan as many aspects of your trade as possible because it leaves you so little time to actually make them in the moment because of the volatile nature of these names, right? And make sure you are adhering to that plan. Don't try to DCA and move your stops and all that good stuff that we try to advise against. And don't get lost in the sauce, so to speak, when trading IPOs, and focus on the merits of the trade. I know there's a lot of excitement. Everybody's looking at it. Maybe your Discord, everybody's talking about it. But if you don't like the setup, don't take the trade. Turn off your emotions if you're able to, right? And execute the trade as planned, no matter if the trade is making money or losing money. Let your levels trigger, right? Preparation matters, no question about it. And be cognizant of your position sizing in IPO trades. Make sure you're trading the amount of shares you're comfortable with and consider taking profits along the way. Wet your beak, baby. Also avoid the instinct to average into trades unless it is part of your predetermined plan. We are talking about that dreaded phrase, dollar cost averaging, that could get you in a lot of trouble. Make sure if you are dollar cost averaging that you are doing it as a part of your predetermined trade. Thanks for that, Neil. So Hindenburg reporter Nate Anderson posts on X, we've had a flood of 15 plus inbounds in the past week asking us to look at potential accounting fraud on CVNA. Yikes. That's not what you want to hear from Hindenburg because they've hurt other people before. Let's have a look what Carvana is doing. That's a daily, so let's flip here to the 1 minute and see if it reacted to this. Well, yeah, you did get a big boy reaction there, Dara. 120, we dip into 117.5.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Neil, for putting this in the chat as well. It also says more than I've ever seen in such a short span of time. Many that describe granular red flags. We wouldn't be surprised if the company has to sell stock to survive in the future. Some people heard that and they were like, oh, me sell my Carvana? Sure. And they sold this. And what's crazy, too, is this was an area of support that we had a couple times here. I don't want to say a flat bottom, but it certainly broke below that 120.40 area, swoop to the downside, swoop, there it is. But yeah, those shorts coming in to our Carvana quickly and furiously. John Szymanski saying it best here, short Carvana now. I mean, of course, not advice, just saying, like, and we'll have to see. We've recovered pretty nicely here. We bottom of that move there, low of day, 117.80. We're already back up almost at 119. So Carvana made a quick recovery there. Recovering, this is not my best work, but I tried. And that's what matters. So Carvana falling there. Also, the Qs and the Qs are giving me the blues. I'm a little, like, look at this. I was like, you know what, Adira? Let's try to short this. Was it a questionable setup to begin with? Oh, for sure. But I initially liked that long because we were bouncing off the area. I said if we break above that area that I initially liked, and now we sell off? Okay. Yeah, I think the Qs and I are just not, this is just not working for me. I think I'm gonna have to break up with them for the day. But then again, if I see something I like, we're not divorced, I'll look at it again. But I think right now, this is just, I'm not getting the right emotion in the ocean with this name. We're rejecting at levels we should hold up, then all of a sudden we decide we do want to hold up at them, or vice versa. It's not a vibe, but you know what? That sell-off there did get me out of the SQ. Speaking of Qs, this is the Q that I'm pleased as punch with. Don't have to ask any questions here. Shout out again to Pillsbury for recommending this one. Or not recommending, but pointing it out to me. I did like this chop and churn and the ranginess below the VWAP, and I liked it as a short. We come up to that 72.25, took about 17 pennies. Please just punch, and thank you again for pointing this guy out to me. SQ, staying on the side chart. That is for darn sure. I think as long as we stay choppy and churny, I'm going to stay looking at shorts. Also, Celsius here. I wanted to take a long off this base of 44s. We got there on the buy side, didn't get there on the sell side. They're like, Adara, you really missed your shot. I'm going to go all the way up to the 77 area. I don't know why it's a Valley Girl, but it is. I was like, you know what? Okay, fine, Celsius. You do your thing, 21, but now it's coming back down. But I can't do, yeah, that was better. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what we do here on Celsius if we're feeling the heat, or if we're feeling a little frostier. It's still going to stay on my side chart. There are definitely levels to play here, and I'm really proud of myself for just taking it upon myself to trade stuff I like, even though this is a more expensive stock. Same with Square, for that matter. SQ, block. That's usually the type of stock I would have blocked from my side charts is going live, because it was above that $60, $70, or $60, $50 that I'm more comfortable with. But I'm happy. Sometimes you have to take shots. And if you see stuff you like, and it's within your wheelhouse, may as well try to trade it. So I'm really happy with what I did there, and I'm going to stop ranting now.
3-year auction coming up in about 14 minutes, guys. Not one that I really have my eye on too much, to be honest with you, the 3-year, but it's got two bulls at a 3 here by investing.com. So we'll give it its due respect, and we'll cover it. So keep in mind, about 14 minutes or so, typically we do get a bit of a delay before we actually see the auction's results manifest on these markets. So we're keeping an eye on that. The 3-year note coming up in about 14 minutes. I'm long NVDL, looking for that dip on NVDA, and for a continuation up 917.81 HOD. We did get that 915 rejection, as we talked about. That 915 was a pre-market top, you guessed it, in the pre. And so we did get that move back. We didn't make it quite back down into the 20 period. So I did have something shadowing there on the 20 period on NVDL. It was at 40.05. It didn't make it below $40.10 on NVDL. So I didn't get that print. So I kind of chased it, to be honest with you. So we'll see exactly whether we continue and break above 915. I've already put my out on NVDL. The other trade I'm interested in is short, AAPL at 182. 182 will be the 20 period. So the deeper retracements on a weaker stock sometimes, or a stronger name, go into the 20 period, whether you're going long or short there. So I'm looking for possible 182 rejection on AAPL. I put it a skosh below 182 to get filled. We'll see if we get that fill or not on Apple. Not quite yet. We didn't make it. So we'll look for that. Amazon, man, this is the short that I'm lamenting having, covered it too quickly. This was a topping tail candle into close to 190. It comes into resistance level 1 on pivots. Just a skosh there below that 190, 189.94, and it hasn't printed a higher high since that time. Everything subsequent to that topping tail candle at 1150 has been lower lows and lower highs, and now it's breaking down below this area range over here. So you had, for whatever reason, this support at 189 earlier in the morning, and you're not getting that support no more, at least not for the moment, on get it together, Sharif, AMZN. So we'll keep eyes on that. All right, NVDL, right back into that local area where I got in. Alas, it is not above 50 pennies. I'm looking to wet my beak on the other side of 50. Let's see if it's able to break through 50 pennies. That's generally 40-50 is generally 915 or 914.5 on NVDA. You try to make equivalencies between their charts, and it's kind of a fool's game. So I'll try to trade on NVDA and to chart on NVDA and to trade on NVDL. Sometimes it is a little tough. The futures looking a little toppy. I mean, look. This is the area of support. So there's 18, 2 1/3. We know that that's an area that's important. It was initially the IB high. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. And then when we broke through it, we used it as support twice. Not just once, but twice. But we are kind of putting these topping tail candles through 18, 2 2/3. And we're not getting that continuation. And this is starting to look like a rounded top. So we do have this area, this line in the sand off which we're bouncing, but for how long? Especially with these lower highs coming in and this bottom being under constant threat to break. I'm talking about 18, 2 1/3 on the NQ. So keeping an eye on that, worried about that because I am long on NVDL, and you know, you'd like to see them both move together. All right, so that's one order of business, NVDL in the future. The other, Meta, been very strong, probably the best looker on the day. No, Goggles is. Sorry, so META up 0.75%, and it's now at the 20 period. Put in a bit of a hammer candle here on this 5 look, but it's not really holding up quite yet on the 20 period. Let's see if it does respect the 20 period and start curling back up maybe through a break of 470. I'll keep my eyes on these Mag 7 names, but it's been kind of a tougher trade on these Mag 7 today. That is unless you were Google. I mean, Google was kind of just, I don't want to say up in a straight line, but it was a lot easier than trading some of these other names. All right, so long NVDL. About to get short here on AAPL if it comes into my level. We're waiting for a 182 general retracement into the 20 period, getting short on the dead one Apple.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also long a chip adjacent thing, being stock sales. So we're gonna make that NVDW and SOX W, and the market heard that and they were like, ha 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 ha, and it sold off. I am a little, we're all good. We're living our best lives. Did lose on the SOX sell. I took a SOX sell and SOX sell, but yeah, there were words that I was going to use and I don't remember what those words were. So that happened. Also, I was going to say to you, if you're ever thinking the TQQs are a little bit toppy, don't worry. If I try to short them, they will pop to the upside. So no, I'm joking, but that has been the theme of the day. We're at a level where it looks like we're going to reject, and then I get involved. It's like, that's really funny, Adara. And it continues to sell off. That being said, we keep bouncing on these Qs. There's a trampoline-like energy at this 59 area. No matter how much it looks like it's heading to the downside, the TQs recently have found a buoyancy, to use a word that I know Sharif will be using and I think is very apt here. Every time I'm like, oh, now it's definitely the short. TQs are like, what are you talking about? I'm going to keep bouncing here, Adara. So with that in mind, how dare I disrespect the TQQs? I'm going to get long. I'm getting long. I'm going to take it into that 59.10 area. I don't know if we'll get there. If we break decisively below this little shelf, if we break it to 58.90s, bye-bye. But hopefully I don't have to wave goodbye because I do like this level. Also, Elon tagging me, not Elon Musk, Elon in our chat, saying, hi, Adara. Hi, Elon in the chat. Disney's still Sleeping Beauty. And yeah, I mean, certainly it is. I do not know if it's going to get its true love's kiss to wake up, but I was mentioning this area earlier that I like that 104.50, and we held that, so that's cool. What is not cool are these, if you're long, are these little, multiple bearish little wicks here. We could not get above that 104.80. It's being like that movie Brave, because there's a lot of bears over here, to make another Disney reference. But you know, I mean, this morning Disney saying how far I'll go to the downside to make a Moana reference. I need to stop. I'm going to reference every Disney movie here. But basically, yeah, I think we are trying to wake up a little bit here. But those bears certainly try to crawl their way back into Disney's good books with our inability to get over that 105, because look at all those little candles. That is certainly a tale there. Also, I am shocked to say that the TQs have not forced me out of them yet. So that they're being more respectful than they've been all day.
Good.
So I'll take that. How is it? How are your bite of the hour?
We're fighting with the dead one at the 20 period right now. Short at a less than desirable price because my patience didn't pay here. So I was waiting at 182s, and then I'm like, oh, it's not going to make it up there. Let's short here. And so now we're at 182s. And it looks like we're going to go here. So if we break sevens, 182 sevens, that's where I'm drawing my line in the sand on AAPL. It'll have to reject 182 or the 20. Otherwise, my trade's not valid. So we'll continue to watch and see what we get there. And I also, sadly, did get stopped out of this NVDL trade. So that break through the $0.50 wasn't as forthcoming as I would like. So we lose about 6 pennies on that trade. I had a tight stop there by design. I didn't want this one to actually double top off 915 and give me trouble. But if it does break 915, then it gives us a bit of a vacuum between there and the next resistance level. So I will look to take a 915 break and take long on NVDL rather than NVDA. So out of the short for now, and packing my patience on this Apple short, out of the long for now, on NVDL, and in this short on AAPL as we dance with the 20-period moving average. So we'll continue to keep eyes there. I saw people mentioning Meta break down below the 20-period moving average in the chat. It did, but I really want to bring your attention to this level over here because Meta could find some support super quick, especially if it dips into that 468 area. That's where we ended up topping tail. We ended our topping tail candle right there at 930. That's the IB high, and then we ended up moving all the way back down into 461 to third. So look for a possible 468 hold here on META, but it does look like it is breaking down now below the 20 and possibly headed either to VWAP or the 50. We'll keep eyes on Meta. Nothing else here for me. I can make this observation. I haven't taken the trade, but this 180 level on Tesla has continued to pay. It's been a bit of a local top, you know, the majority of the late morning, early afternoon. We had a short on this one earlier at the 50. That 50 came back into play around over here at 12:15. Didn't quite make it back into the 50, but here we go. Looking to come back into 179 lows. 179 did act as a level of support last time, but this is another lower high this time around here on TSLA. Haven't been pushed out of my Apple short yet. It's not really breaking above 182 with any vigor. We're about 4 pennies out of the money at the moment on it, but I'm gonna pack my patience here because, you know, this is a trend trade. Apple's down. I mean, it's not down the day, but this is a down to the right, and I always have this theory that the deeper retracements go into the 20 on the 5. If I'm going to believe that theory, I might as well put it to the test. We'll see if Apple can reject off the 20 or generally that 182.
Hopefully that Apple does not bottom out and it does give you boots with a fur and it goes low, 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 low. That is, you know, we're not at our finest hours, but we are still going to make fun.
It's still good.
So appreciate it. Thank you. The TQs have not kicked me out yet. We haven't broken below 90s with the viciousness. I am shocked. I am not appalled. I'm pleased, actually. But I was going to say I'm shocked and appalled, but I'm not. I'm really happy. I've noticed no matter how much farther we fall lower, the TQs get to this 58.95 area, and they're like, I'm going to bounce, Adara. Joke, psych. So I decided I have to be preemptive about that. I have to preemptive strike. To quote the fake karate dojo in Karate Kid, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. And that's what I have to do with these markets. I was talking about this also in the spin-off show, Cobra Kai. But I was talking about this last week as well to Sharif. It's like I was talking about the markets moving with the swiftness and the viciousness. Why can't I? Why can't my trades?
There should
if
be
I
no
like
reason.
something, pardon?
There should be absolutely no reason.
Right? Thank you.
Dominate those trades.
I'm gonna be like boxing back with the market. So that's what I'm doing. I got involved here. I want to see what we do heading into 59.10s. I really, I like this area. Do I love this area? Yeah, I'm not like married to it or anything. You know what I mean? I think divorce could be imminent, but I do think we're holding up pretty well for now. Also, though, sometimes I've noticed if we sit pretty at levels for so long, they can always break down. So I want to be cognizant of that, but I want to stay involved. Anthony Kerr, yes, Cobra Kai. That is the Netflix show about the old men from Karate Kid running their own dojos as adults. And yes, so strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
Hold on, which guy is it?
Oh, both of them.
Hold on,
It's iconic.
the bullies? The bullies from the
bully
first one?
and the
You're
main
talking about
guy.
the 80s movie, right?
Yes.
Not the remade one.
No, so the 80s
Okay,
movie.
good.
So Ralph Macchio, 80s icon.
Yep, of
and
course.
William Zabka, the one who played the bully.
Right.
They are adults. They have kids.
No
And their
way.
kids date. And then and they have karate dojos, rival karate dojos.
I didn't know
And it
about
spirals
this, Neil,
into a
I
war,
swear.
and people
Yeah.
get maimed, Sharif. It's a
Really?
surprisingly violent show.
Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
Oh,
It's iconic.
well then it's over. It's over. I'm
Yeah.
going to watch it.
There we go. So
I
anyways,
love Karate Kid.
right? So you got to strike first, strike hard, no mercy with these markets. Sorry for that, that tangent there.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's pretty entertaining, and I think, and also I'm proud that I'm proud this worked out because I kept watching it, and the same with that Celsius. It's like you keep seeing levels you like. Get involved. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a joiner here at these markets, and we're going to get out 59.05s because I'm not that forgiving, Qs. I still understand what you do. I still see your movements. We're pushing to the upside. Let's go. I want to get out before we break into that little resistance or support area earlier. Plus, we're still ducking below that 90 MA, so I want to make sure we get out before that 90 MA smacks us in the head. I'm also involved in TSLL. There's nothing to report here. I like this range. Shout out to the Piper for pointing out that range in Tesla. I decided I wanted to wrestle with the Tesla. For live trading by Trader TV Live, aka Ramin saying it's given Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, it is kind of like karate Romeo and Juliet.
I like
would
it.
say there, yeah.
Okay, very
What are you
good.
looking at?
We're doing real well on both of our trades. Wet our beak on some goggles trades. Took the short off 182, wet my beak there for a nice 20 penny move on, well, not 20 penny, 15 penny move, excuse me, on AAPL as it did reject 182. Not on a really aggressive basis, but I'm going to keep my stop in place because it looks like it may be rounding up here. Now, if it does take out 182, that changes the calculus for me because especially if it takes out 182 on a closing basis, I think that that is a very bullish sign for Apple here, being that, you know, it was down all day, comes into the 20, rejects initially off the 20, then comes in and retakes a level. I think that may show buyers incrementally overwhelming sellers. So profited on this, but if this closes aggressively about 182, I will likely flip to long on AAPL. But to where? So that's really the question here. So there's a number of areas that I'm looking at here on the chart. Okay, and here we go. Decision time here on Apple because it's coming into 182. So what do I do here? Now I'm 8 pennies out of the money on the last portion of my trade. Yeah, I am going to flatten out this trade, and I'm going to wait to see if we can break and hold above this level. If not, and if it's a failed break of 182, I can participate in another move short. So we'll continue to watch here what AAPL does at 182. Now, the one that I'm continuing to hold long right now is goggles, long at that 30 penny level, looking for a possible continuation into that 2/3 of a dollar. HOD at the moment is that 3/4 of a dollar. That, again, the idea here for this trade was it was a strong directional trade and it came into the 20. So exactly the opposite reason that I got into the Apple trade was that it retraced higher into the 20 period. I got in Google because it retraced down into the 20 period when it was awfully directional on the day. So that's really very simple reasons to get in these trades. Nothing that I'm seeing that's overwhelmingly hard to explain or anything like that. 20 period retracements on both Apple and goggles. Apple now looks like it I don't know. It's a little bit above 182. I don't want to call this a break and take of the whole dollar level of the 20 period on the 5. We'll let the price action develop and then come what may from there. That 915 level on NVDA is featuring again, this time with another higher low. So last time around, we come into that 910 and a quarter, 910 and a third. This time around, we don't even break 911. 911 and 3/4 is the low there. So a higher low accumulating for what looks like it could be a flat top break through 915. Now, you're not going to get it in the flat top break that we see on these small cap gappers. You're just going to get, you know, a break and take of the move. Now, to go green on the day, NVIDIA is going to break above 921, looks like, and a third there. So a good amount of room between that 915 and that 921 closing print, which was yesterday's essentially that area top. Looks like 920 was a bit of an area top yesterday with a couple of outliers over here later in the day on NVDA. So watching that. And now Apple still at 182, nothing really doing there. Google still above the 20 period, nothing doing there. So nothing to do on my trades right now, but just to watch. Tesla coming back down. Down goes Tesla again, breaking this time through 179, but on a closing basis or what? It's had support earlier at 179. The low print, though, defended 178. So Tesla rejecting that 180 again, not with as much vigor this time around a day.
Yeah, I mean, we did wrestle our way out of Tesla with that move down because that was the same area I was looking at, that support.
Yes.
We broke that support. I said bye-bye. But trying to get some more energy back in Celsius Energy. Also, I don't know if anyone's had the Celsius drinks. They're okay. I know, yeah, I mean, I'm like, if you're for as far as energy drinks go, not bad, but I was just thinking about that because they do have them at certain Canadian grocery stores. But
I told you off camera, my first energy drink, like in 5 or 6 years, on Saturday. And
What
it was a
kind?
Rockstar.
Oh,
yeah, and it wasn't the one that I thought. You know those white diet ones?
yeah, those are good.
Yeah, so it was white, but it was like mixed with like a blue color. It was like a blueberry flavor.
It wasn't
Not
diet?
but it got me like all amped up. Yeah, it did, Ram, because I haven't had that much caffeine in a really long time. And there's taurine and there's B complexes as well, so it gets you super amped up. but I needed it because like, well, we were having a good Saturday night and it was like jamming time. It was like Easter jam. It was like, yeah, I just went to church. Now it's time to become a G-Gen. No, I didn't say any of that. It's all jokes, right?
I was not prepared for that, but yeah. But it sounds like you were not prepared for the rock star. So I guess everything's very apropos.
And the 3-year, we just had the 3-year.
Yeah, we did. Sorry, I just saw that. Coming in 46, 4.6 eyes. 4.605% versus 4.548% previous. Red Bull, okay, Ramin saying she's all down for Red Bull here in the chat.
Okay.
Life, so shout out there. But yeah, so 3-year note auction. Thank you, DJ Marshall, there for tagging me with that one as well. 3-note, yeah, a couple people here with the 3-note auction. So yeah, there we go. That was what we got there for the auction. I did get wrestled out on my Tesla, and right now I'm in Celsius. And I want to say something as well. I don't know if this is, you know, just a me thing, but we were talking earlier today about, especially in these IPO trades, but I think this just applies to the market at large, not letting your emotions get the better of you. I know your friend Alfred, noted 3-piece suit wearer, and apparently also boxer, we learned last week, said you need to be dead to be involved in trading or something. And I don't disagree with that, though, because I was just thinking, oh, I know if I get involved in this Celsius, it's going to go against me. And it's like, the markets don't care about your feelings to do well. Why would they care to, like, antagonize you? They don't. They literally do not. If you like a trade, get into it based on the levels and the movement you're seeing. So I don't, like, this is maybe a specific boogeyman that only I experience, but I just wanted to put that out there. The markets do not have a personal vendetta. When they say they don't care about your feelings, they really mean it on all sides. So
very true.
I want to say that. Also, the impetus for getting involved in this long, I am aware I initially did like this on the fact that we were ranging, but then we're seeing these kind of higher lows. I think there could be breakout potential here. We also did make a skosh of a higher high here. I like that we rested at 77, and I said I want all the smoke, or in this case, all the caffeine. So.
So Neil put something in the chat, and I don't know why I'm laughing, but yeah, it creates a very, very, I think, a hot debate, which is who's his pound for pound. No, look, I know that he likes conventional fighters. Any fighter who fights out of the shell, he looks at with disdain. So your Mayweathers, your Adrian Broners, he doesn't like the shell. He thinks it's a gimmick. Why do I know that? Because I like to fight out of shell, and he hates teaching me the shell. The Philly shell is what I'm talking about. Anybody who knows boxing knows what the Philly shell is. It's where you roll the punches off your shoulder and you have a tight guard. Huh? Yes, he likes conventional stance. He wants you in your guard when you're approaching, right? He likes a high guard. Anyway, there was an obvious really good fight that I could get into, obviously, on the weekend. Canelo Alvarez fighting and winning by unanimous decision. Yeah, Big Patty Ice, did you watch Canelo win there again? No? Did you watch the Ryan Garcia fight the week before? You don't like him. BPI doesn't like Ryan Garcia. So. Well, he's a little bit of a drama queen now. Yeah, he's a good boxer. You stick to boxing. Ah, yes, exactly what I said. But, you know, it seems like I was really naive because that's how they make money now. They hype all the fights up. Right?
They do. They gotta get their brand out there. They're not just boxers.
No.
They're influencers. They're personalities. But yeah, I also have to shout this out here. Juan Alejandro Castillo saying Red Bull is a market oxymoron, and it definitely is. Because if you're red, if you're a bull, you don't want to be red. You want to be green. You want to be a green bull or a red bear.
Yeah.
I love that, Juan. I love wordplay. And also, shout out as well to 1320 Wolf mentioning the Monster Zero Ultra in the white can. Yeah, I'm just gonna make this. I'm gonna make this hand gesture because that's solid. But yeah, so there we go. Celsius not getting any energy in it yet, but I notice sometimes, and this is totally superstition, sometimes when I say energy in the energy stock, it moves. That's obviously superstition, didn't work that time. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to cope and stay alive. Right. And for now though, we are at, it's just past 1. So we are going to get into the lesson of the day. And I am going to let Celsius hopefully turn up its heat just a skosh here on the side. And if I need to run out of it Jason Bourne style, I shall. But right now, we're going to let her do her thing 21.
21.
21, I don't know. Right now, though, we're going to talk about beyond day 1 for these SPACs, IPOs, and direct listings. Have a little bit of a transition there. So what happens after you have your SPAC? After your IPO? Where do you IP go from here? Well, we're going to tell you. It's going to be the day 2 plays because there are some day 2 plus plays. I remember Reddit, DJT, they gave you a lot of spicy opportunities. DJT I wasn't really involved in, but Reddit, I traded both day 1 and day 2 on the sim, and it does give you some opportunities both times because you've still got the residual hype from your day one, which we'll get into in the lesson. But basically here, trading IPOs, SPACs on direct listings on day one can be really great for volatility, but not every trader is really going to be suited for or interested in that kind of trading. I like my range trades. I know Sharif likes his high of day breaks, and both of these trades are more conducive to having that previous movement, so you know from whence to go. You don't necessarily have that when you have your first day IPO and everybody's all bright lights, a glitter, just ready to get involved, and it's a little bit harder to have those trades. So what does day two give you that day one might not give you? Well, for one, levels. So traders can have a better sense of which levels, if any, the stock is respecting on the daily or weekly chart by waiting, or like 5-minute, 15-minute, by seeing how the stock is traded over a number of days or for over a longer period. Liquidity also could get a little bit spicier. As we mentioned during yesterday's session, sometimes the liquidity is a skosh lacking. You might call it lackquidity on day one. You're not going to have as much as you necessarily want, especially for these IPOs because they're brand new stocks. They're still getting eyeballs on them. And the days following an asset's debut can result in extra attention on the stock and allow for more liquidity and tighter spreads, which can make it a little bit easier to trade or find opportunities on. So let's look at some key strategies. So number one, you're going to want to analyze. Watch the chart, watch the tape and the movement to get for your chosen stock in the hours or days, minutes following its debut, and get a sense of how it moves, what kind of spread you might be dealing with, and levels that you might be interested in. Then you want to plan. You want to sit with your notebook, your textbook, take some plans and figure it out. You have your levels you like. You have a sense of how the stock moves. Bless you. Where the heck do you go from here? You want to visualize and plan the details of your trade. You want to literally see, and I know something that Obi's told me as well, you want to physically see the trade and visualize it and plan it out and pontificate on it ahead of time so that you're prepared when you actually do get involved. So what kind of trade do you want? Do you want a scalp? Do you want a breakout? Do you want a range? And make sure that you plan accordingly in order to best execute the trade. Also, yeah, thank you, Bears versus Bulls, for shouting at the liquidity. But yeah, so basically, once you have that, you're going to want to plan your entry and exit. Now, this might seem kind of like, well, yeah, I have to get in and out of the trade. And that's fair, but it can be a little bit trickier. With these IPOs or these direct listings, these new baby stocks that are first entering the world, these newborn assets. So once you have your plan, you have to put it into action. And given the volatility that can be present, even in second day IPOs and SPACs, think like your Reddits, your DJTs, you want to make sure that you are able to get in and out according to your strategy. Be a ninja, wax on, wax off, get in and out, and have plans ready to execute. Someone is pleased as punch about his plan, which we'll have to get to after, because I saw some excitement there. So shout out to, I was trying to do my best Sharifisms there, but shout out to Sharif.
Thank you, Adara.
But for now, though, we're going to have to continue looking at these important considerations here. So think about the spread of the stock, because these recent IPO spreads can certainly be spready. They can be larger than that of the average stock of its size in the days after the debut. So you want to be very cognizant of the spread when planning and executing your trades, particularly with regards to entries, exits, and stop losses. And risk management we always talk about because I think it's very important. We talk about it in this desk, we talk about it in that desk. We don't really talk about the big desk, but it's kind of an inherent aspect of trading. Due to the spread, though, and the volatility present in these types of names, you have to be really prepared to make a hasty getaway. You have to be prepared to be like, I got to be out of here lickety-split. Call my private jet and get me off this plane or off this island. Get out of that trade.
Jag wants on your private jet there. Jag was excited.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a metaphorical private jet, but I mean, certainly, by all means, hop on board. And make sure you want to set your stops the second you enter that trade so you can be prepared to run for the hits. A couple things to remember here as well. With IPO trades and the like, it's even more important that you plan every aspect of the trade ahead of time so that you could have those sweet fist pump moments like Sharif was just having over there. And you also, once you have that plan, make sure you adhere to it. Get in and out of the trade at the levels you've identified. Try not to move your stops. And also try not to get lost in the sauce. Shout out to Obi there. When trading IPOs, and focus on the merits of the trade. Not Ameritrade, but merits of the trade. Turn off your emotions, execute the trade as planned, no matter if the trade is making money or losing money, and be cognizant of your position sizing. Try not to DCA unless that is absolutely part of your plan. So I've done that a couple trades today, but those were within my plan, right? And that's, if you start DCAing all willy-nilly because you're stressed out, that's when things can go a little awry. But it doesn't seem like things are going awry on this here side of the desk.
Yes, Tesla went up nicely. So what we did was look for a defend of the
support level 2 on pivots. It was around 178.75, got long at 79s, and it did make its way up to 179.20. It's coming right back down now, so we're holding a tiny piece left, and it's kind of moving the opposite of how Apple's moving. Long Apple, long Tesla, Apple pumping to the high, like not to the high side, but to local highs there. Tesla coming back down after that 179.70 touch, or 20 touch, excuse me. I'm going to try to pack my patience with Tesla just because it came back down. You know, I still like the level, and yeah, the 10 period rejection on the 5 minute was not a level that I was looking at. So I'm going to hold it, and whatever come what may, my stop is already in place and everything is done. Well, the one that I really want to see print is AAPL, because we haven't taken anything out on Apple yet. We're long at 08s. It's now at 15s. I'm looking to get filled at the 1/5 of a dollar, around 20s. 182.20 is where my beak wetter is hanging out. We're at 15s now. Let's see if Apple can move up. Look, it's a bit dead on the day, but it did do something that I was waiting for, and then it retook the 20 period moving average on the 5 on a closing basis. It hadn't done that all morning. So just by virtue of that alone, I know that possibly the winds of change are coming here on AAPL, whether we get like a 183 VWAP mean reversion on the day or whatever the hell happens with Apple. It's doing something different, which it hasn't done all day, which is to break and take the 20 period. Right back up goes Tesla, and this is why I didn't want to get shaken out of that trade. Tesla is the monster, and there we go. We'll take it out at the 30 penny level. Pleased with this trade on TSLA. It probably runs up a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there. We'll take some profits there and then get out of Dodge. Happy with this trade on TSLA, and basically a counter trend trade. This thing's down 3%, so let's call a spade a spade. And there we go on AAPL. We get the 182.20. I think I scared Ram. Did I? My bad, Ram. We get that 182 and a fifth Ram, and it's on the way into 182 and a quarter. Pleased as punch with that 182 hold on AAPL. The winds of change have come, looks like, for the moment here on the dead one, Apple.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, Jay Lee. Sorry, Adara. Sharif, get ready for everything to Huadunk. LOL. I wish I knew if it would be today or tomorrow or next week. Jay, you're not the only one dropping that kind of sentiment. There's a whole bunch of people, I think, that are in the camp of rate hikes, and Kashkari did not put them out of the realm of possibility today. So keep that in mind. There's a growing number of people that are talking about rate hikes, and with that, you know, obviously comes a market Huadunk. Go, Apple, go. Sorry, Adara.
I was going to say, you're chomping on that apple there. I like those little beak wetters, that duck, like, you know, nodding its little nose into the water there. Shout out to you. I added to my Celsius. I want a little bit more caffeine here. Instead of I want all the smoke, I want all the taurine. I want all the added preservatives. This is becoming a really weird analogy, but no.
All good.
I am really proud of myself. I want to get out 20% of the position. I realize that's specific. No, 40%. I want to get 40% of the position here out, and it looks like we're going to get it in this pop into 22s. I like this level. I know not 21s, how dare I? It's very counterculture for me when I'm always saying do your thing 21, but I did want this 22 area because I thought that was an area I liked. I was also remembering that old Bad Baby song that blew up on TikTok a while back there. Because why not? I like that 22 area. Right now, this is a type of trade I normally don't take. There's not a lot of levels just set up for me. So I'm going to have to sit here with my Celsius and wait till this temperature continues turning to the upside. And I have to say, I'm proud of myself for taking this trade too, because this is my best name of the day, and I didn't want to like give up those gains, but it's like, again, if you like a setup, then get involved. And why did I like the setup? I liked that we were holding higher highs and higher lows. I thought we could have that opportunity to blow the top off, crack the top of this energy can, bubble up here, see that carbonation to the upside, and indeed we did. We got carbonated. We're pushing to the upside. Sorry, I'm getting really excited here.
Oh, good.
I'm feeling the energy from this trade. It's like it's giving me caffeine. But yeah, so right now I have enough for 2 outs. I might take it all out in one go, depending on what I'm seeing. I want to see minimum 50s. You know what? We're going to wait. We're going to see what we do here. If we get 78s, I mean, I'm not going to be displeased. We'll be like, Celsius, what? You want me to get my first Dollar Club winner since going live? Sorry, what?
Are you ready for this hot fire?
I don't
know
know
you're
if I
going to
am.
like this. I know you're going to like
I'm
this.
excited.
Elon's like basically trolling the hell out of Lucid. So he's like, Tesla CEO Elon Musk couldn't resist poking fun at rival EV maker Lucid Group following the latter's report of a staggering loss of $680 million for the first quarter after generating only $172 million in revenue. In response to a Twitter user's suggestion that Lucid might mitigate its losses by giving away free Tesla Model 3s and halting its own car production, Musk simply replied with a laughing emoji, ROFL at Lucid's ginormous Q1 LOS. That's hilarious. So, yeah, well, there you go. And this Sawyer Merrick guy is the guy he was responding to.
Oh, that guy's such a bull.
You know about this guy?
Yeah, I told you, I'm all up on Tesla bull Twitter.
I love it.
Because I find it super entertaining.
Yeah, well, this Sawyer Merrick guy, one of the biggest bulls, I guess because Elon responded to his tweet.
He and Elon always go back and forth. Like, I
Right?
don't know if Sawyer knows Elon or what, but Sawyer, the other big, I know Tesla Boomer Mama's another big one there, but I don't know if she and Elon are in stir a lot. But yeah, Tesla.
I like it.
Tesla, a
Boomer
bull
Mom?
Twitter.
Tesla
Boomer Mama. That's
I
her.
love it.
She's a pretty entertaining one. She like literally tracks like the ETF performance that Tesla's in every single day.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, like, and I know I own zero Tesla unless it's like, through like, because I have a financial advisor, but
Right.
I just find the bull Twitter really fascinating. But yeah, Sawyer Merrick.
When is the financial advisor going to hire you to do his talk?
I don't know.
All right, TikTok sues U.S. government over potential ban. Did we know about this already?
No.
Okay, so citing First Amendment violations, so that suit that TikTok was threatening against the SEC, or who's it going to be here? I think it's a DOJ. I'm not sure. Is already done, so they did follow through with that. And so keep your eye on, Metas or Snaps. It could have, well, there you go. Show Adair's chart, Ram. Looks like at the time that this broke, Snap did sell off. Well, we kind of expect that. And Meta also came off highs at 471.5, all the way down into 467 and a third on that low. So yeah, not surprising there with respect to that news. All right, Ram, let me show this Apple trade. Apple's continuing to go, guys. So we got everything out in the mid-30s. Alas, mid-30s, not even mid-40s. We're looking now at possibly mid-50s here as it breaks the 50 period on the 5-minute chart. Good move back for Apple off that 181 and a third. We still have a long way to make it to 183. That's about 50 pennies away from where we are. That's where VWAP is. We're still green on the day technically, but this is the move that we're giving back, right? Yesterday, Apple moved big time in the aftermarket around 7, about 7:30, 7:15, when I think it was Wall Street Journal broke the news that they were making their own data center CPUs or chips. They didn't say CPUs specifically. And we got a big boy move there right in front of 184. We sold off a little bit, and then we gapped up in the pre. And the move continued there, the IB high being at around 184.90. We gave up the entire move after the Apple whatever iPad event was done, and it looks like we're going to possibly hear V-shape retrace off that 181.25 defend. Keep your eye on 183. It could pose, a level of resistance there, owing to the fact that it is the volume weighted average price. Good recovery though for the dead one, off basically $1.20 off the bottoms there on AAPL. Yeah, so that's a look. My Tesla trade is also done. We wet our beak there on the range trade. It didn't even make it up the VWAP, so that the range trade's starting to tighten up a little bit. At least it looks like that for now. So pivot point, support, level 2 to the downside, and then it looks like maybe the 20 period. I really don't know. It looks like more like a compression pattern with lower highs and higher lows. Unsure what to make of this. Kind of looks like bear pennant-ish a little bit. I mean, with this big move down here on TSLA. That's a look. Apple continuing to head to the high side. I took this trade out way, way, way too early. Disappointed a little bit there. Oh, the other trade that looks like it could be curling here. Goggles. Goggles is finding support on the wicks. It's holding 171, but look at these prints. Look at these closing prints, all north of the 20 period. Goggles could be an interesting long here to test the high day, about 50 pennies north of where we are right now.
Yeah, Celsius turning the heat up a couple degrees. This is very nerve-wracking for me, I have to say. Initially, we were selling off a little bit at 50s, then we come right back up. I told you guys, my level I like is 78s, but that terrifies me. That is 60 pennies away from where we currently are. Now, why do I like 78s? Look at this little gap We had, we just talked about Apple and its Gapple, but Celsius gapped around a little bit here earlier today too. I guess they chugged an extra energy drink getting into that 925 candle because we had that nice pop to the upside. I want to see Celsius break that 77.50 with a viciousness, with a swiftness, with a supercharged energy drink chugged swig to the upside here. I'm getting really excited. I feel like a news announcer. But yeah, this is not the type of trade I normally take. And I think that's why I've been watching it like it's my child I'm babysitting. Or like, when you leave, you leave the kid alone with the babysitter for the first time and you're calling every 2 seconds, is my kid alive? That's me with Celsius. This is not the type of trade. Oh my gosh, Kate, we broke above 50s. Please just punch. I like that 64 level of this candle. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. We're gonna pamp it as a team. Oh, you're pamping your Google. Sorry, that's
I'm
bad.
pamping your trade. Don't worry about my Google.
I'm gonna pamp Google. Pamp. But yeah, I'm Google searching for my out. We're gonna get another 40% of this out here if we get into 64s. I like that level. Then we are saving a piece for La Rev, which is gonna be that 78 level. We're gonna have to see if our dreams become a reality. As Beyonce says, it could be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. And we certainly hope it's the former and not the latter. And also we hope that in Google.
I'm hoping Google as well. The idea here, again, quite simple. 20-period retracement, looking for the long on that as it does that roundy bottom sort of thing that the boss talks about. Apple finally taking a break, I guess, from its upside move here. I'm seeing finally some red show up on the 5-minute candle. I mean, there's nary a red candle here on the 5-minute look ever since 12:30 onwards, 12:35 onwards. So it's been almost an hour of uninterrupted moves up. And even the one that did end up red here at 5-1 was a bit of a, a candle of indecision. I mean, look at that bottom right off the closing print yesterday on Apple, 181.70, bounces right off there. And then the subsequent candle there makes another high. So good look here on AAPL. I am looking for a print here on goggles for something to curl up above the third of a dollar. That is what I'm waiting for there. No other trades for me except this Google long here. I wonder if this could be an entry on Apple though, right? I mean, we were waiting for kind of a red candle. Look where it's holding up though. It's holding up, it looks like at the 200 on the 5. So we made a lot about what it was doing at the 20 on the 5. Now it's dancing with the 200 on the 5. Is this another price action level? Well, we had a little bit of price action here in the earlier time of day from around 10:30 till around 11:15. There was a lot of zigzagging in and around this current price action here, 182.5 to 183. Essentially, there was a lot of price action around there. So we'll keep eyes on that on AAPL. And then, wow, NVIDIA. So NVIDIA now is breaking above that pre-market top. So this could be a long here on NVIDIA. We were talking about this 915 top acting as a level of resistance. It was a resistance in the pre, and it acted as a resistance essentially from 1215 to this candle here at 120. Now looks like we're looking at 915, the rear view, and we're looking possibly for an HOD touch, 917.81. We're doing the dance right now with a little bit of 916. We'll see if we get that big curl up. Oh, look, so it did. Oh, so come on, Google, bro. I did cross, and it didn't fill me. That's frustrating. So we'll wait to see if Google can hold this level at the 20 period, but it did cross. But I guess the ask didn't cross, and that's why it didn't get filled. So we'll keep eyes on that, Adair.
I love that you're talking to Google like it's like one of the traders in the back. Like, come on, Google, bro. Also, come on, Celsius, bro. Break decisively above that 77.50. That is, a nice, polite request. I'm politely asking to speak to the manager.
I think that's fair.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish you could tell her that because Celsius isn't doing it.
You want me to call her?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, if you have like a couple minutes to spare. No, I'm joking. But I have no reason to leave, so I'm going to be trying to sit pretty here because Celsius is trying to sit pretty here. I'm still saving a piece for the dream at that 78, as I've said, but I wanted to de-risk the heck out of Celsius here. So we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not ready to sell my Celsius entirely just yet. We're going to have to sell CS just a little bit here heading into that. Yeah, I know, it's fun. That level. Snapchat snapped back to the upside. I was going to consider, I pontificated on the possibility of taking a short off of that news here, especially when we get to that 1702. Thank goodness I didn't. Look what decided to keep popping back up there. Snap. snap, crackle, pop to the upside, that's for sure. Didn't take a Rice Krispie, yeah, that wasn't English. I think the shorts are probably pretty Rice Krispie there, which is why I didn't want to take that short. So hopefully, that was not a decision. But also, looking back, it's like I'm happy I didn't take that also because we were near that support, that nice 1696 support. I think sometimes there are moves that even if you do have a catalyst, it's not going to override the overarching trend. And that was a huge thing I had to learn with the TQs, which I kept trying to short to death here every time we got near that 59.10 area. And then I realized it's like, even though we keep making these lower highs, for whatever reason, the Qs love this 58.95, so just go long there, girl, and that's what I ended up doing. I think, again, it's important, and this is one thing I said that might be, only stuff that I keep in mind, but in case anyone, we always talk about stocks don't care about your feelings. They're also not out to get you. And that's the huge, I was so scared to get long Celsius. I'm like, what was so nice to me earlier? I could have used up all my goodwill. Oh, what if the TQ is now reversed when they've been behaving this so well here? It's like, they really do not care. It's a stock. It's going to do what it wants to do.
So true.
So I'm happy I used that to get long Qs, get long Celsius. Celsius having a little bit of a sell-off here, which I don't like. If we get below 20s, I'll get out. But I really wanted those 50s, and I do still think there's a little bit, or my 60s, a little bit of a rumble there in the jungle, a bit of movement there for my Celsius. Honestly, if we don't want, if the temperature it wants isn't necessarily going to be that 77 60s, I'll give it 77 60s. I have no qualms. I'm qualmless. I'll still keep my final part of that position there for the dream, but I do want to de-risk some at 50s because you cannot be. You've got to switch it up. You got to switch up your plan sometimes. That's what scalpulation is all about, which is that term I use a lot, or I used to use more, and I want to get back into. I'm going to stop ranting now. What are you looking at?
I'm done my Apple trade. I'm done my Google trade. Positive on both. Happy about that. I gave up a little bit there on the Apple retracement as it did come back below the 50-cent area, and I got out of that because I don't know, started looking like it was going to reverse. So done those trades. But Amir wants me to look at TDC, and I didn't have eyes on this today, but this one got Teradata, $3.5 billion market cap, down about 13% on the day today. Did this report? What the hell is this?
I think it reported last night.
They did, eh? Yeah, because they have a whole bunch of analyst notes today. So let's have a look at yesterday. What did they do? So yesterday, yes, they did. Company reported mixed Q1 financial results, so it looks like it was an earnings miss. Let's go look at the 15, and there you can see that big move in the pre and in the aftermarket yesterday. Continued sell-off today. I don't know what you're looking at, Amir. It's about 2.5 million shares done on the day. Let's look at the 5 here. What is your look here, Amir? Because all I see is a 33 defend. I see like this $33 area generally has somebody buying it right there. Like how long do we have to defend that area for? So lower highs, Amir, but 33 looks like it could be a flat bottom break. And I mean, I haven't pulled up the tape or the book to see what's jiving there to see if there is actually a buyer sitting at 33. Let's pull that up. So TDC trades on the New York. The New York. Oops, that's not the one. That's looks like the New Mexico Stock Exchange. There's no such thing, of course, but NM. What is the NM gateway, Neil? You don't happen to know what that is, eh? NM, yeah. Yeah, anyway. TDC, let's see. I don't see a big buyer on the whole dollar at 33 there, Amir. So why we keep bouncing off that 33 area? Maybe it's an iceberg, it's a hidden seller, but you needn't be a chartered market technician to be able to see that this monster is getting bought up off 3. So good look for you. I hope you're able to somehow weasel your way into some profits here. I mean, I could trade this. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's a 1 penny spread at the moment. It's done. The volume of 2.5 million shares, not the most for a $33 name. This will be awfully boring too. Yeah. So good look. I hope you print on it. Let me know how everything goes with that, Amir. But yeah, good look there.
Yeah, I mean, Celsius, I'm so happy here. We did get some out. Initially said I wanted 64s. I had to, I called Celsius on my CS and I was like, hey, can we make a compromise? And Celsius was like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to compromise 76.50. And I got out some of this there. It looks like for whatever reason, we are fighting a war at 76.50. 77.50, sorry. I'm not getting out yet, though. Like I said, as long as we kind of continue to hang out above this 20 area, I'm okay with staying. I have a scintilla of shares left. I'm just really proud of myself to stay in this for this long, and this is the type of thing. Sometimes you've got to switch your style up. Initially, I liked this kind of short here, took it for a cool 2 pennies thanks to a fat finger move. Then it got involved in a long, just noticing that the tides were changing. As Drew was talking about the changing of the tides, saw that in Celsius. Then I ended up getting involved in the long again because I was like, that range we initially had rejecting off the 77 now became support at 77. So you just got to see. I think that's also the benefit and something I'm trying to do more of, just not looking at too many charts, having your charts you like, having your eyes on them, keeping your peepers on them, and getting involved accordingly. Right now, though, Celsius, if you're going to break below, if you're going to get too cold at this level, this is not the right temperature. I'm trying to sing that Sean Paul song. I can't get it right, but this is going to have to be the temperature that I turn you off, Celsius.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm issuing a warning. You got to be firm with these stocks and times. But yeah, it keeps bouncing off 25. So you know what? I'm all good here. I just don't want to lose on this because I'm really proud of how I built this. And honestly, if we keep bouncing off 20s, might add a little bit. But I say might with a capital M, I-G-T-H. I can't even spell might now. That's a very strong might. It's a very strong maybe because I don't want to add to oblivion, but I do think we're continuing to be strong at these 20s. So going to stay in for the time being. Also, Bobby, I wanted to look at the cues. I'm going to be honest with you, Bobby. I know you were asking about Head and Shoulders. I'm not seeing a Head and Shoulders here. I'm going to make sure I'm seeing, no Head and Shoulders that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a strong jump here off that 441.20. Also, look, that 441.10, that VWAP bounce, that was the same area we had some resistance earlier. So to me, I do think that's a very strong support level. Are we rangy? A little bit, sure. But we are, we did just make a new high on a wick basis. So I would be a little bit hesitant to hop into the short, to take off the pants and put on the denim shorts here. You know what I mean? I do think there is still a little bit of motion in the ocean here, where right now we're bouncing off that 90 EMA. I think until, and I was mentioning this earlier on the TQs, for whatever reason, we keep bouncing off those levels. And that was something I kept wanting to short as well. Like, we're getting a little bit weaker. Let's try to take a short here. I think that this VWAP bounce is being heavily respected by the TQs and the Qs on the day. So that's going to be my take on that. Havana Woody saying that Mara looking like a cobra ready to strike. Oh, this is interesting. We're certainly we're like, getting the little snake creep up here, getting that bottom at 1999s or 1990s to that 2000 or $20. I was talking 2008 there. We're gonna have to see. I don't know if it's gonna be so 2008 or so 2000 late, but I think there could be. An entry.
Wow.
Yeah, I think this one could give you a boom boom pow. This might be an entry I want to get involved in, but not, if it makes sense. We're still seeing lower highs here.
Wow, that hit some memories right there. Yeah, you slid that one in pretty discreetly.
Well, I accidentally said 2008, so I was like, I might as well run with it.
2000 and late.
I
I love it.
Boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
Boom, boom, boom.
I love it. Boom, 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 boom. All right, guys. Apple right back in, doing a bit of a wick shimmy, a little bit at this 182 3/4, 182 and 2/3. A nice big move up. We talked about that. Reclaim the 50, having issues with the 200 on the 5. Because there's really no, I shouldn't say that. There is a consolidation area bottom here in the pre. It takes us from around, let's say 7:05 till around 8 o'clock, where the low end of the range was exactly where we're at right now. So that's really the only price action area I can see to justify a kind of a halt up to the price action around here. Keep your eye on 183 though. If we continue to squeeze here, VWAP's been hanging out at 183 all morning. Above that, if we clear VWAP, there's a price action bottom here from the morning move. 183 1/3. You see kind of almost a triple bottom there. We had that initially at 8:30, and then again right at the opening print, right before the opening print, I should say, right at 9:25, and then again here at 10:10 and 10:15, all finding support at 183 1/4, 183 1/3. So if we do take that whole dollar level, potentially another area of resistance here. It looks like Apple may retrace that entire movement. So it was a sell the news and then buy like the sell-off event, right? To get yourself a $3 better price for some of these institutional traders. Looks like we're gonna reclaim the whole move here, especially if we can really retake 183 and the volume weighted average price. So catch a lot of people offside there, possibly push some shorts squeeze some intraday shorts. Yeah, man, Apple's headed up here. 182.76 now. It just broke above these two previous 5-minute candles. So we got out of that trade way too quick. Let's go back to AAPL here on the trade screen. Yeah, it's just like, you watch Apple sell off all day. But let me tell you, man, that initial pop, I was watching Apple when they started talking about the M4 processor, and it popped initially. Obviously, the entire move got sold off later, but I think, I don't know, just kind of my perception of things was the market met the news of the M4 processor with, I think it met it well. I think that they liked what they heard there because it was an initial pop-up. I guess time will tell there. We're long Apple again at 77s. Let's see if we can get a nice move into 183 or so. Kind of buying the tops here, so I'm going to have to allow this to go against me a little bit. Small share size, though, so that we can kind of have that buffer. All right, let's look at what else is moving here because TSLA is obviously having a bit of a dance here with the volume-weighted average price yet again because it's rejecting off VWAP now for the third 5-minute candle in a row. After breaking through the 20, for whatever reason, it was acting as resistance here. So Tesla, it's not really doing much. I got to tell you, I'm not going to trade this right now, but it keeps rejecting off either the 50 or VWAP to the high side and finding support at support level 2 on pivots at around this 178.50-ish area on AAPL right now. Sorry, in TSLA, excuse me. Yep.
It's sort of a nickname for Tesla that we haven't used. The
What?
Loch Test Monster.
The what?
Instead of the Loch Ness Monster, the Loch Test Monster.
It is a monster. But NVIDIA, I've been calling NVIDIA the monster. lately,
That's
though,
true.
Right?
I feel like Tesla would be stepping on NVIDIA's turf.
A little bit, right? NVIDIA was Tesla was the monster. It was Stressla, got everybody, was moving dollars at a time.
Tesla got everyone to Presla.
Yeah, now it's kind of NVIDIA's time to shine, I guess, right? I don't know.
That's true. We were having that conversation. We were like, can we in good conscience call Tesla the monster anymore? We were saying this. Can we call it Stressla?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a valid conversation to have. But also shout out to Jarhead Trader cycling to the upside with Peloton here. Don't know where you got involved, but that's a nice look. And this is interesting too. It kind of snuck up on you. We had these lower highs here, lower lows, and then we saw actually, we did see a bit of a base at that previous chop and turn area, 396. Then we spring to the upside. We start pedaling. It's like power hour. The last 10 minutes of your cycle workout where you like cycle really hard. Yeah. That's what Peloton starts doing. Except instead of 10 minutes, starts doing it for a good almost an hour here, continuing to chop and turn to the upside. I was going to watch to see what we did at this previous resistance level around 410s. Peloton's like, what do you mean resistance? I use resistance as part of my Peloton training, okay? I'm going to keep pedaling harder. So sorry, Peloton, to offend you there, continuing to push to the upside. I want to see, we did have a bit of a rejection, baby rejection at that 1416 area. I don't want to rush into this, but if we bounce here, I don't hate this. I might have to, this might be a group workout session that I have to join in this Peloton. We might have to pedal on to Peloton.
Oh.
Also, CELH, still in it. We're still kicking. It's hard to know what to do here because we are not able, we are like chopping, churning, burning here at this level. I got involved because I noticed we kept holding up that 77.25. Honestly, I'm happy just getting out everything here at 50s because we are struggling with that 50 level. And the reason I added as well, because I was like, if this is going to be more of a range trade, I got to play it more like a range trade. So that's what I'm trying to do. With my luck, the range will turn when I get involved, but it's like, what? Also, I can't think like that. The stock literally gives no crap about my feelings.
No.
It does not care. It doesn't give a what, as Steve sometimes says about my feelings. So, Celsius, if this is how you're going to put your energy into this range, that is how I'm going to have to treat you. I see you just have exited a trade.
I just got out of Apple. I got stopped out. We tried to go long there for the 183 move up, and alas, it was not forthcoming. Breaks down through the $0.50. So we'll take that out. So too bad for me on Apple. Right there, we give back some of the winnings we had. We tried to go through 183 long, but that ain't going to work. Now let's look at Tesla, because Tesla looks like it's curling back down now off that 179.5 touch. Putting these topping tail candles in goes TSLA. Couldn't make its way back down. I mean, we are kind of getting a little bit late here. That 179.50-ish area looked like a nice area off which to get short on TSLA. It did put a nice little rounded top there at 179.50, 179 and 2/3. Also, the future coming into the 50 period here on the 5-minute. So last time we were at this exact same level, well, not the same price level, point level, but same indicator level, which is the 50. We did find some support. And it looks like yet again, we touch the 50 and find a bit of a bounce back now. So keep your eye on the futures, finding some possible support here. Another level that we did find some support on. But I feel like the Mag 7 and the Future have been awfully consolidative of the entirety of our show, save and except for Google. Google had a really nice move up during our show. You could say it popped up there at around, it really broke that bull flag at around 10 to 11 or so, and then it really started moving up. That really was the trade that we could have had quite well there on Google. Good move up there on goggles. I really don't have anything else here. Looking at a possible Tesla move back, but nothing really that's tickling my fantasy. These small cappers today have been, you know, pretty much dead. So we'll keep eyes on that.
I'm curious. So I know you were, I don't know why I'm just thinking about this now, but, you know, conversation time, we got 15 minutes left. I feel like today both went by, you know, I feel like earlier it was a little bit slower, but I feel like today now the market is like running to the upside along with Peloton pedaling. But I have a question. So I know you traded almost exclusively small caps like earlier on, right? So I'm wondering, in those times that the small caps were dead, would you trade other things or would you not trade small? You would just, oh, okay.
We just trade small caps all day. Yeah, and just basically have one eye on the chart, one eye on the scanner.
I like that.
Yeah,
and then I have a follow-up question if you don't mind. So,
sure.
Are there small caps that you found when you were exclusively trading them that would run like all day, that you'd have opportunities to be in all day?
So they wouldn't, I don't think they would run all day, but like new ones would keep showing up. Like in 2020, 2021, it was insane. You'd have 50, sometimes triple-digit movers in one day. Like you would have to look at which one was the biggest out of the 20 different 100% plus movers. It was just nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
What a time to be.
It was nuts. Yeah, it was like, and everybody at the time though that was experienced kept telling you that this was not normal. But you didn't know any different because you just kept seeing this day in and day out, right? So you, even though people were telling you that this is not normal kind of volatility, you just, you know, one ear out the other kind of thing. Benton C. Any bottom in Starbucks? Also, how did you like that 0 to 4 Man U game yesterday? I saw the highlights, bro. I felt bad for United there a little bit because I felt they had opportunities, but you know, as an Arsenal fan, obviously I dislike United owing to the battles we had in the early 2000s, the late 90s, but I feel bad a little bit for them. I think their coach is likely going to have to find a new job at the end of the year. I don't think Erik ten Hag is going to have much of a tenure left there. He seems to have lost the dressing room too. And with Jadon Sancho doing so well at Borussia Dortmund and having that crazy Champions League game, it makes him look like a bad coach for not even being able to use Jadon Sancho properly as an attacker there at United. So not a good look for him. If you ask me, I think the odds are better on him being out of the Prem at the end of the year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those are words.
Tough look for them. Michael Moore, Apple, cup and handle on the 10-minute. Let's have a look. So let's have a look at the dead one right now. AAPL, cup and handle, 10-minute question mark. Let's pop up that open. So look, I mean, you got the bottom. I like how you're thinking. You got the bottom. Let's see if we get the cup and handle. But keep in mind that it's not just about seeing patterns. It's about contextual, right? Where is this taking place? Is the cup and handle above or below VWAP? Are we up or down the day? Is it bouncing off a key level of support like the previous print, like it here? Absolutely. So let's keep an eye out. But, you know, it's still, we're below the highs. We're below VWAP. So I'm not really, you know, super ambitious to look for bullish patterns at this point on AAPL. But I like how you're thinking. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, this Celsius is having a bit of a caffeine slump right now, unfortunately.
Ooh,
We were holding this range so beautifully. I was waiting, I don't know, I went British there for half a second. I was waiting for that 77.50 print. We get into 77 like 42s, then we slump. So if we break below here, if we break below like 77.10s, I'm gonna have to say sayonara. I'm still happy I added to this because I think the instinct was correct. Just, you know, you never know when the stocks are gonna decide that they they're a little bit tired because they're the ones in control. You know what? Celsius had a lot of energy to the upside. It makes sense that, you know, even though it is an energy drink stock, it lost a little bit of energy. Maybe it needs to chug another couple energy drinks here to keep that movement going, but I don't want to force it. You know, we don't want to give it a heart attack. I'm happy with this. I'm going to set an order here to get out at 39s. If it hits, I will be pleased as punch. If not, I understand that it can't drink any more energy drinks. You know, I don't want to upset the stock. He's been doing a lot today. He's been having a pretty good day. I'm really proud of what I did with this name, though. All seriousness, just sticking with it and finding levels I like. This is I've said this is the most expensive stock by a decent margin that I've traded since going live, and it was a little bit at first of an exercise for me to get back into this thing of, oh my gosh, Adara, you have to risk more than like 2 pennies when you're trading. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Because when you're trading these smaller stocks, 2 pennies can sometimes be like too much risk. It can feel like, you know, you're playing poker with, I don't know, a really good poker player. I didn't have enough knowledge for that analogy. But you know what I mean? Or it feels like you're golfing with Tiger Woods, playing tennis with Serena. You know what I mean? But it's like, you have to be aware that certain stocks trade differently. And it looks like, I think we might have lost some of the energy here in Celsius as we break back below 77. So that's a little bit unfortunate here. I'm really happy, though, with what I did with this name. And with that in mind, I think we're going to have to bid her adieu. Happy with what I did with this trade. Very up on this trade. This is my best name right now. We're slightly up here on the day, but I'm not trying to trade P&L. I'm trying to trade trades that I'm happy with there. Let's also take a look at the House of Mouse, because it's been a good while since we've visited Mickey and Minnie here on their couples retreat to the downside all day. But now they are bouncing off a little bit here off that 104.50.
Holy cow.
I like that 104.50 area. I said I want to see what we do here. We are continuing to push to the high side. Now we're at the previous resistance area at that 105.40. Let's see if we keep
What's happening
running
here?
to the upside. And these markets,
Yeah, something is going on. So I know you're covering
I'm
stuff,
not seeing
but
anything, sorry. Yeah.
yeah. So just the market's moving aggressively up, down, to the side. The future tanked essentially from where we are at the highs, and then we got right into yesterday's closing print, literally dropping 66 points in a few minutes there, and then coming all the way back down. Fat Kashkari, if we need to hold rates for an extended period or raise rates, we will do that. I think that was from earlier, though.
Yeah, I'm not seeing.
Yeah, that Kashkari's been talking for 3 hours, so I'm not sure that that's it. So we'll keep eyes on that. But yeah, big move down right now on the market, bouncing off 18.2 right back into volume weighted average price here on the future. I got bamboozled. I tried to take Amazon long at these levels. Should have been in that. Say that again. Yeah, the Katina man was in the same trade. He thought the same thing there on the Amazon as it did come in to break even on the day. And I tried to get long right here, and it tanked a little bit down. So I had to get out of that as well. Tried to catch it again on the bottom, and it tanked even more. So that's what alerted me to the fact that we were really moving here on these futures, because you had the likes of Amazon, Meta, and even Microsoft making low of days. Microsoft printed new low day on that big move down, 411 and a fifth there with this latest market move. You also had Google giving up 171 right there. It had been holding up above 171 essentially since taking it at 1140 or 1130. Trying to hold up right now at the 50 period, just a smidge above the volume weighted average price. So everything and their mother's cousin, it looked like in this Mag 7 world, did come off that quick print right there. Diamonds, boom, my short paying now, short from 18,254, was in it for the return to the opening, I'm assuming. Range, shout out to you. Dan Chase Band says, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Energy transfer earnings tomorrow. Thoughts, calls. I don't trade that at all. ET, I think that's what you're talking about. Energy transfer. Yeah, I have never traded this. I'll have a look quickly at the daily chart for you. You guys can come to the chart if you'd like. ET, great looking daily chart there. I think you showed me this, or somebody showed me this not that long ago. There's a clear trend here, and it's up and to the right. So unless you see an earnings report that really disappoints, and the last few times I would say that you really haven't got bad earnings. I mean, you can see there's an outlying day over here. In December, that was probably an earnings day. Yeah, this is an indesirable, I mean, it's up and to the right. There's really nothing to say about that. What's the weekly take us to? So the daily here goes up to 16, okay? And then we have a bit of a top there at 20. So I think you're good to go until 20. You don't really have a resistance level, my man, Chase Bands, until that $20 level on ET. Hope that helps. Eddie R, don't we have a consumer credit in 1 hour?
We do.
I did see consumer credit, yes, at around 3 o'clock earlier. 1 second. Yes, it is 3 o'clock, 15. So that's coming up. 1 out of 3 bulls is given by the investing.com. So I'm not sure how much the market will follow that. Keeping an eye here on 18.2 to see if we hold this level.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a Q short here. Because, you know, I'm not trying to trade P&L. I am slightly up on the day, but it's like, you know what, Adair, if you like this, trade this. I liked that we kind of popped up here, then faded. We fizzled. We lost a little bit of carbonation as well earlier in this. I'm still talking in energy drink puns, even though I'm out of Celsius. With that pop earlier as well, right? So I like this level. I want to take this short. Also, apologies, there was a super chat earlier as well from Ahmed Abwala. Sorry, I just saw this now. AED, $10. Coin possible rebound from the support. I'm in now. So yeah, I apologize for the lateness. Let's take a look at that coin base. See what base we have in coin. See the bases. Yeah, I think that there certainly was some support there coming in around 1250. We had a little bit of a rebound, then continued to move to the downside. Coinbase has been pretty weak, unfortunately, not really able to find much of a base on the day as coin. But hopefully you're able to print on that, and I'm very sorry. Just saw this. Now it's big. What lot of movement today in these markets.
Oh, yeah.
In the ocean. That is for darn sure.
Did you watch the Tom Brady roast?
No, but I heard they mentioned FTX. Isn't it funny?
Yeah, well, they don't even really say anything about FTX. Like some woman just accuses them of losing like 30 million or something like that on crypto, and she like basically talks so badly about crypto like it's not at all-time highs. You could tell she's completely disassociated from reality. She doesn't really know like what's up, what's down. She just heard that crypto went down 2 years ago, and she's going with the joke. But there were other really touchy subjects. I think Kevin Hart came at him the best.
Really?
You need to watch this. It's hilarious.
Did they mention Deflategate?
Eh?
Did they mention Deflategate?
No, not yet, but they should have. Well, I don't know if they do. I haven't watched the entire thing because Bill Belichick was there. So Deflategate could be on the top. But Kevin Hart comes at him from like his divorce and his wife. And there's all sorts of stuff. She was there apparently supporting him.
I love
So I kind of like that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that whole co-parenting thing, making everything work. You got to admire that. But yeah, the roast was very roasty.
Ooh, so he got cooked. He got seared on both sides.
He did. And he's a good sport about it though. He's a good sport about it. Yeah, of course. Of course it's intended. No, I had no idea I said it.
Sorry.
No, seriously though. Yeah.
No, I have to watch that.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces here and there on social media, but you know, you don't get to see the full thing. Where is it on again, Katina, man? Is it Netflix? Netflix, right? Yeah. So I'll definitely be on to that. Guys, these markets, we're dancing with 18.2 right now. How we resolve, your guess is as good as mine. We get that big move down right about 10 minutes ago or so on these here futures. And then you've got a whole bunch of stuff that printed low there, Katina, man. You have the Microsoft at day's low, 411, barely holding on to that 411 area there, Ram. It's been 50-period rejection after 50-period rejection for Softy today. The same has been the case for TSLA. It's been one 50-period rejection after another. It's been down. Lower highs, not necessarily lower lows. We're getting, for whatever reason, defending at this 178.50 level. Amazon also just got into negative territory. I tried to take that long off 188.75. That wasn't forthcoming, and we got a big move down into 188.40 or so. Keep your eye on Amazon. It is putting in lower highs and lower lows as well, so not a good look. The one that's really interesting to me, though, right now is Meta. Meta had a great day today, really only second to Google, and it's now at VWAP. And the fact that Meta's at VWAP is not just the fact that it's at VWAP, but we do have this IB high area here as a level of possible support, previously resistance, to help Meta, I guess, maybe stay above this 467, which is where VWAP is. So I'm going to be looking at Meta for the remainder of the afternoon. You guys will be looking at a blue screen, though, because that's currently what's showing up on the screen. Thank you, Ram. I knew I was boring, but not that boring. So let's put it up. I'm teasing you, bro. Of course. It was a blue screen. But anyway, so we'll keep eyes on that Meta 467. Keep your eye on possible VWAP hold right there. 50-period right now featuring on Google 177.70 right now, acting as a local area bottom after giving up the ghost at 171. About a couple of minutes left on this here show, Adair. It's a negative day for me today, but hopefully we'll do a little bit better tomorrow. Had some good trades today, but I think some got a little bit away from me today too.
Yeah, no, I like that. I love that Apple trade you had.
It was okay.
And I also, I think, you know, you had the Google search there. Goggles, putting on the goggles. But yeah, I think certainly nice look there. I'm slightly positive in the day here. That Celsius, though, was certainly the energy that I think I needed today. I'm really proud of what I did with this. And why I keep harping, waxing poetic on Celsius beyond the fact I was involved with it is because this is the most expensive stock, as I've said, that I've traded since going live. And I think it just shows, like, sometimes whatever you do, whatever you adhere to, you gotta get going. If you like something, just why not? You know what I mean? And so I'm happy I took the impetus to get involved, even though I did almost panic sell, as everybody saw when I first got involved. I was like, too expensive. What's this newest resistant level? Oh my gosh, $77. I can't do that, right? But it's like, that's why you just have to turn off your brain sometimes and let the trades come to you. If you like a level, just try to get involved here. Really proud with this that I did today. I might post this one on my Instagram chart at tradertv.live if I remember to do so, because I'm really, not every trade was a winner, but this was my best trade of the day. Also, I want to shout out Pillsbury again for helping me make a small amount of dough here, scintilla of dough, on my block trade. And this was, I say scintilla, but I'm proud of what I did here. I just played the range, you know, got into that previous support area and got out. I know Pillsbury was mentioning the range on this, so thank you so much. This is another stock in the $70s that I wouldn't have necessarily felt emboldened to trade when I first went live, but that's why practice makes perfect. You get involved, you get more comfortable, and you warm up to things. I cannot believe we're almost done the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we just gave up the ghost at 18.2 as well. What a move down for the future, and that pushed NVIDIA below VWAP. It pushed Meta as well, and it pushed Amazon down into the 20 period. Big move down. Of course, though, Apple, as it has been doing lately, very counter market. The market moves down, Apple moves up. Look for a possible continuation of that pattern as we go into the afternoon, Adara. It is now 2 o'clock.
It is. You know what? As Solo Christo said in the chat, immortal words, long the blue screen. But, you know, we'll see you tomorrow with a whole screen and a whole new lesson. Same bat time, same bat channel. For now, though, Brendan.
See you guys.
Hey guys, y'all, welcome in. Tuesday afternoon, 2 hours to go here in U.S. equity session. We are dealing with back to flat, essentially, on that last move back to the downside there for the overall market. I was just checking out some of the